Good. Did you manage to any of you go to the party last night? Yeah? How was it? Good? Excellent. It's nice to see a lot of women in the audience, as we will be talking about our first talk, Diversity and Inclusion, and women in business overcoming obstacles and achieving success. And today I'm going to welcome a very exciting panel. First up we have Benedetta, sorry, I'm Katrina, by the way, I'm your MC for today, so this morning. Always forget to introduce myself. Benedetta Poletti, who is the director at Elle, she will be moderating this session. So Benedetta, welcome to the stage. And then we have Clemence Morchamp, who is founder at Leaders. Welcome to the stage. Chiara, SVP, sorry, am I pronouncing it? I hope I'm pronouncing it right. SVP Business Development Travel at MasterCard. Yeah, welcome. Dr. Tina Elton, who is founder and president at Nations of Women. And Lina Maria Uribe Restrepo, Head of Business Development Center at University Pontificio Bolivariano. My goodness, that's a mouthful. It's not easy, but I said it. So, over to you, Benedetta.
Okay, thank you very, very much. So good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us today. I got the immense pleasure to lead this roundtable on a topic that is of great interest to the society and actually to our magazine Elle too. We count today, as she was saying, with 4 panelists, 4 brilliant, passionate, strong, bold, talented, unstoppable women. Great protagonists to whom today we give voice, light, and power, and who are going to talk about the changes women face in the business world and about, as she was saying, the obstacles we face when we want to succeed. They have reached the top, so they know how to lead the way, open the doors, and let the other in. As Kamala Harris said in her inauguration as Vice President of the United States, "I'm the first, but I will not be the last." The role of women in society is something that at Elle we support from the very beginning. In 1945, when Elle was born, its founder, Madame Hélène Lazareff, wanted to create a magazine that would address would address to women for the first time in history in France, and would give women a voice, listen to their fears, and push their aspirations, something that was absolutely disruptive at that moment, and encouraging women to take their place in society, to be independent, to be active, and to be absolutely self-confident. And we're still doing this today, every month through the magazine, talking to more than half a million readers, and on the web trying to connect women throughout our 5 million unique users. And this is our mission. It is really we think it's a social mission, promoting, recognizing, and applauding women, giving them a voice, amplifying their struggles, raising them when they are falling, celebrating their achievement, and above all, helping women to be a bit more happier, so that no one ever will put up barriers again, neither in their professional dream nor in their personal life. And those of us who are here today, I'm talking to women especially now, we all know that in a way we are all connected, because we know that together we are stronger, together we add up, together we multiply. This is the principle of sorority, that invisible thread, that, as they say in French, fil rouge, that exists between us, that unites us and goes beyond nationality, age, political belief, or skin color. I repeat, together we are stronger. because there is still a long way to go to reach equality, especially when it comes to reaching the top. Because the glass ceiling, we know, is still difficult to break, and women are still not equally valued for their work. I just shared some figures with you. According to a recent study, only 6% of the general management of companies in Spain are occupied by women. And with this figure, we rank 6th in gender equality in European Union, whose average is 8. At the level of managers who report directly to the CEO, Spain has 17% of women, 4 points below the European average, which is 21%. On the other hand, it is slightly above the European Union average in the number of Spanish female CEOs, with 33% compared to 31% in Europe. One last piece of information. This is striking, this is amazing. A Spanish woman has to work 51 days more than a man to have the same salary with a parity of position, experience, and studies. Even if in recent years it is true, you know, that we have driven a profound change, the society is really changing, and we have fought for our rights, progress towards equality, we still need to put the focus on us. So I really thank the South Summits to focus on this subject and on this issue, to generate spaces like this so that our struggles, our stumbles, our triumphs are known and shared and can be an inspiration. To advance more and more quickly, the key is to make visible those real examples of women who are a source of inspiration of others. Because when one woman empowers another woman, nothing can stop her. No one gets to the top alone. The success of one of us make the others stronger. So with this in mind, let's start, and let me introduce them to you. Tina Alton, she's wearing the red jacket today. She's the president and CEO of Nations of Women. Tina has a proven track record in global leadership, change management, business growth, women's empowerment, sales, and global business expansion. She's a multi-award-winning entrepreneur, author, and educational psychologist. She supports, mentors, and trains entrepreneurs and global leaders to succeed in life and business through tried and tested principles and protocols. From Nations of Women, they inspire, empower, and strategically connect women to spearhead systemic change across the nations. Also, they provide tools, resources, and the community to equip mainstream women to take leadership positions for the socio-economic development of nations. In 2021, she was recognized as one of the UK's most influential business women and mentor. She's catalyzing sustainable economic development and women's empowerment through her efforts. She has mentored more than 5,000 entrepreneurs and empowered more than 35,000 women in entrepreneurship. Bravo.
Yeah.
During her term as the High Commissioner to Ghana for the World Business Angels Investment Forum, an affiliate partner of the G20 Committee on Financial Inclusion, she helped identify key partners within the government of Ghana to deliver a comprehensive Africa master plan. Beyond the stage and sitting with leaders and businesses, Tina makes significant contributions in boardrooms where she offers her expertise to various non-profit organizations. Her core values are integrity, loyalty, hard work, and perseverance. Chiara Quaglia, here she is. Welcome, Chiara.
Thank you.
She has worked in the travel and payment industry for over 20 years and is currently Senior Vice President of Travel Market Development within MasterCard's Global Association and segments focused on proposition B2B, travel insurance, travel, and overall travel industry strategy. Previously, she worked as Commercial Director in the Amadeus Payment Unit, in the Global Card Division of Banco Santander, and in AirPlus International, and is also the Ambassador in Spain of the European Women's Payment Network, a non-profit organization whose objective is to promote gender parity in the payment industry. Welcome, Chiara, and bravo.
Thank you.
Lina Maria Uribe Restrepo, on the left, is Head of Business Development Center at the Universidad Pontificia Bolivariana in Colombia. She studied environmental engineering, completed a master's degree in innovation and knowledge management. She worked for 9 years as an environmental engineer in different organizations, both public and private, in the development of environmental management plans for different municipalities in Colombia. Today, from the Universidad Pontificia Bolivariana, one of the best and well-renowned in her country, she also leads the development of UPB Venues, a patient capital investment fund with which she seeks to economically boost the growth of companies that generate values and wealth for society. And from there, the members of the university are accompanied, advised, connected, and trained to structure their business ideas. In addition, the fund also extends to all those entrepreneurs in the country who have projects that have a positive impact on society and generate new skills and diversification of products and service. Bravo. And last but not least, Clémence Mauchamp is more and more than a financial expert with 20 years of experience. In 2018, she founded LeadHers, a global outreach platform and community of women united in their desire to support the next generation. Here we are. LeadHers' mission is to act at the bridge between a community of successful women and promising young students, the leaders of tomorrow. Perhaps here we will have the leaders of tomorrow. Through an exceptional mentorship program, promising students have the opportunity to exchange and learn from an experienced professional woman in the field of interest. But mentoring is not the only one-way street, you know that. In a world of technological disruption, reverse mentoring can lead to better understanding between generations. By bringing together women from different generations and from a wide range of industry and backgrounds, LeadHers facilitates the transfer of knowledge, ideas, and experiences between different generations. This reminds us of the importance of drawing inspiration from the experiences of others. So I thank you very, very much. So let's start. So I will start asking one precise question, but please try to be really spontaneous, try to enrich the conversation whenever you want and take, of course, the floor. So I will start with you, Clémence, as you're here very close to me. How can women feel safe and empowered to speak up and negotiate for themselves?
I think for women to feel safe, they first have to understand the weakness, the strength, and the rules of the game. By rule of the game, the workplace is not like school. You have those rules which are present everywhere, but which are taught nowhere. I'm going to give you a few examples to be concrete. For example, performing is not enough. Your work is to claim your performance, that people know what you have done. Number two, I think that life and work is not like a train station. If you miss the train, there's not the next one coming. And it's the same with opportunities. You know, if you miss the train, there's the next one coming. But if you miss an opportunity, it's not going to come back. So this imposter syndrome that makes you think that you shouldn't seize it, you eradicate it. this time of the year, it's not the right time because I have those plans. You forget about it, you seize the opportunity. And the last point I would say is like politics. Politics is not a bad word. It's on top of performance. Everybody performing is the bare minimum. I think being politic is just an additional skill, and it doesn't mean stabbing people in the back. It just means having strong alliance, talking to the right people that can help you along the way. So that's one thing. About negotiation, I think one thing we have to be aware of, there is this study from Harvard and Carnegie Mellon that shows, and a very credible institution, that actually women don't negotiate as well as men. If you put them in the same setup, men outperform women by 27%. But they did another study where they asked women not to negotiate for themselves, but to negotiate for someone else. And then, all of a sudden, this woman outperformed herself by 18%. And third experiment, they asked the woman to write an essay about an experience she went through in a very assertive way, where she fought for herself. And after that, she went on for negotiation. And in that instance, not only she outperformed herself by 43%, but on top of it, she outperformed the men. So I think it's just having the right mindset, the shift in the mindset can yield dramatic change. And to be aware of your weakness and addressing them is very important.
Bravo, very nice. So, Chiara, I go to you now. One of the consequences of inequality between men and women stems from education and economic dependence or independence. So financial freedom and business are an essential trigger. How to educate the next generation in this, and how do you think a greater financial culture could be promoted?
Yeah. So let me give you some data. So MasterCard did a study, Women in Finance, that we released back in January 2023. And what we found out in that study, that 66% of women in Spain that are not economically independent think that they will never be. And pay attention that the percentage is even above the average in Europe and only below certain countries like Germany, France, or Italy, for example. Now, 74% of Spanish women think that it's a key priority on their life, specifically on young generation, to be economically independent. And 7 out of 10 women think that they're doing better in terms of economic independence before the previous generation. So what we can see here is definitely there is still a gap, a gender gap, and women tend to think that they are doing a lot of I would say, not paid job, or they are paid less. A lot of women get out, I would say, of the workforce because they want to take care of the family and so on. But even 15% said that they prefer to depend on someone else, okay? So how we can address this, okay? I think nowadays we do have in all the different, I would say, companies and so on, there are a lot of associations that support this, I would say, day activity and inclusion activity. Also in MasterCard we have many, but I would like specifically to quote 2 that I think are really important. One is called Relaunch Your Career. So basically, this is a program aimed to those people, and to be frank, the majority are women, that had to pause their career during 5, 10, 15, 20 years because they wanted to take care about the family or the kids or older parents, and they want to get back to work, okay? So what we offer is a 16-week paid program where we support them and, with mentor, and we instill them the confidence that they can go back to work, okay? So I think this is a very important program to support women. And another one, it's really, and it's called Girl for Tech, where we really go to the school and say to girls, that younger girls, that they can do whatever they want in life, okay? They can study STEM and they can succeed and have a career in STEM, and they can have a family and a career, okay? And I think that's very important because education should start with the youngest
the very
generation.
beginning, and the change is from the very beginning and from schools, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Tina, knowledge is acquired throughout our professional life, But at the speed the war is going, many become obsolete, as she was saying, or they take some years off. However, abilities do not expire. What are the essentials to face the future, and how should women specifically work on leadership skills?
Thank you so much for that. So I think when we think about leadership, there's many components. But the first one is communication. I think if I can speak to you in a way that you can hear the heart of what I'm saying, you will be able to come on board. So whether it's sharing your vision, whether it's leading a team, as women, sometimes where, they use words such as she's fierce, she's aggressive, but it's passionate. When you find me in a very passionate mode, it's like tiger, but it's being able to, irrespective of whatever is going on in our lives, whatever challenges you're facing, being able to communicate clearly in a way that your team understands, in a way that whoever is listening to your vision, whether it's your suppliers, whether it's your partners, that they're able to understand exactly what you're saying. A very good example, New Zealand, the Prime Minister, obviously we've all come out of COVID. It was the consistency with which she was communicating that made the entire nation feel like, that was a very good leader. She really communicated well to us. Was she doing any different to what other countries were doing? No, but it was the consistency with which she was communicating. The other thing I'll add is negotiation. I think we've touched on it a little bit. The truth is no one's going to come and save you. No. You have to learn to save yourself. It's like you're in the sea. You have to learn to swim. You have to learn to go. So it's being able to, I feel like, understand your worth. Know that I'm at the table, and therefore I contribute something to the table. Don't wait to be told what it is you're bringing. That you are at the table. So just get on with it. Negotiate. If it's this you want, go for it. Speak it. Ask for it. Obviously, don't be anyone for it, but ask. Well, I always say what you want to say. Say what you want to say. And then emotional intelligence, because I think that's one key area that a lot of the time women are, bashed about, as in, oh, they're too emotional. Yes, of course, we all have emotions, but you have to, if you feel like maybe sometimes it's challenging. For example, I've been in male-dominated industry, particularly finance, where you're the only woman there, and I think it's easy to kind of like shrink back and think, oh, but the truth is you can't learn. These are opportunities. There are opportunities to learn. How do I increase? How do I actually get better at how I manage my emotions? If somebody says something that is not representative of who I am, for example, I realize somebody's trying to shut me down. How do I hold my ground without losing it, with maintaining my confidence and being able to still say what it is that I need to say? I would say confidence. I think I know that one of the key reasons a lot of women don't start their business or don't grow their business is confidence. And confidence is not something you can buy, in the shops like shoes, beautiful shoes in Midian. It's about constantly reminding yourself of who you are, reminding yourself that you carry value, reminding yourself that you have worth. Think of the note, the €5, €10 in your pocket. When you squeeze it, squash it, tear it up, it still maintains its value. So don't let anyone ever tell you that you don't, you don't have what it takes, that you're not worth it. You have to remember you're there, and therefore you carry that worth. Finally, I add mentorship. I think it's very, very important. Find other people that you can mentor, you can pour in to share your experiences. Because once I know that, hey, you went through that, I find the strength in what it is that you shared with me.
Fantastic. And exactly what you're talking about, confidence, is, I think, one of the big problems. Now that that Lena, I'm talking to you now, among other things, this forum, the importance of entrepreneur culture, it stands out. But in Spain, only 20% of women start a business, perhaps because they lack of confidence, or a ratio that is still low in many countries, not in Spain. Why do you think this is? How to break that barrier?
Okay, first I want to say that I am so happy to be here. I'm from Colombia and traveled many, many hours to come here. And I'm very happy to be part of this panel with these amazing women. And I have two hats today. No, today no, normally. The first one, I work at the university, but I am entrepreneur as well. I have a female entrepreneurship community in Colombia, in Medellin. We have a store in a very important shopping center in Colombia. And there I have 65 different brands of women. And we have as well a program, a female program. And we do this program with our entrepreneurs, but as well with different associations and organizations in Colombia. And I have been working since 6 or 7 years with women. And I am walking this way for many, many years. And I think the first thing that is very important to break this barrier is believe in yourself. Because it's very normal that women when want to create a company, they want to do a small one. They don't want to, she don't want to make a very, very big company for the world. And we have financial problems as well in Colombia and everywhere. And, but I am a very positive person, and I want to speak more for the positive things that are happening right now, because in Colombia and in Latin America in general, everything is changing step by step, but we have a very, very hard and a strong ecosystem in Latam. And in Colombia, for example, we have 30 women with business, for example. It's low, but we are working very hard for it. Yep. And in order of these things, I would say, first, right now, we can find investors who want to invest money in women business, and that is very, very good. The second one is when, for women, it's very important to have a role model, a woman to follow. And because a woman, when say, hey, she can do that, I can do that as well. And I work in a university, and education is very, very important, but from early age. We have to show to our children or the young people that entrepreneurship is a very good option to grow and to have companies who can change the world.
How important is, and unfortunately we just have 2 minutes left, so I launch a question and the person who wants can answer. How important is to know this importance of sorority? That is to say, how important is to see another woman that can succeed, and how important is that women work together to generate opportunities and also break those paradigms that have been built throughout history? Who wants to answer?
If I can,
yes,
very shortly.
Please.
I think it's very important. Mentorship with women in the company, in the leadership, is extremely important. But I think it's less about fixing the women, okay, and more engaging with men, okay? I think this is extremely important. So part of the association that, in the role I have in the Association of European Women Payment Network, is also working with other associations globally. There is one, specifically, it is called Catalyst, okay? And it's an association that is powered by the major, I would say, CEO and leading company of the world. And this association, the lemma is make the workplace a better place for women, okay? So what they did is, they did a study, they see why men are not engaging, okay, and supporting women on this inclusion. And they say that, look, can be fear, can be apathy, can be lack of awareness, okay, of all of this. And then after the study, they create a movement that is called MARC, Men Advocating Real Change in the Company, because they need to be, they are an essential part, okay, of improving all this inclusivity. How? Maybe cross-gender mentoring, I think it is important. And all these activities that companies are, I would say, setting up internally, maybe just to, I would say, fix women, need to be open to everyone, okay? Because it's not about the, the women's side, it's also to work extremely, to work together.
The society, no?
Yes.
I think the society has to change its mindset. And I think now, as United Nations say, he for she and she for he, no?
Yeah.
We need men to change the world, we need women to change the world. We need to work together. So thank you very, very much. Thanks to our panelists. I leave the floor to you if you want to close.
Thank you, all of you. I mean, that was fantastic. Really insightful. Yeah. So, thank you for that. That was wonderful. Not enough time. Not enough time. No. Okay, so we've talked about empowering women and overcoming obstacles and achieving success. Next up, we have a keynote on a peek into the future economy and innovation and creativity. So we're going to hear from Marcos Pangias, who's CEO at Pangias Corporation. Okay. You're right there, Marcus. I couldn't see you, sorry. Marcus, welcome to the stage. And yeah, we're going to hear from you regarding a peek into the future economy. So looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for the applause. Thank you. All right, let's go. Let's do it. Esse sou eu falando em português e ninguém entendendo. Este soy yo hablando en español y poquitas pessoas entendendo lo que hablo. Nosotros brasileños pensamos que falamos bien, mas falamos muy malo. And this is me speaking English. Maybe you can understand that's a little bit better. I'm very happy to be here with you guys. Thank you very much to be here with me. I'm Marcos Pangias. I'm from Brazil. I'm an author and a keynote speaker. And let's see my two daughters. I'm a father of these two amazing girls. Their name is Anita and Aurora. This one has 18 years old, and this one has 11 years old. They are great for me. They changed me. And I believe that fatherhood is a key from this prison that man lives. Men, have this brutal behavior, and we are just sometimes transform beer in pee, You have to be strong, you have to be bad, and sometimes fatherhood change men and give us a key to this prison, and we can be free to feel our emotions and feel our intuitions. And men can take care of their children. Men can take care of their family. I believe that men can and should and must take care of people. We are taking care of ourselves first, and then we can take care of other people. I believe that Anita and Aurora changed me for better. And in Brazil, all my work is to teach men how they can be better men and better husbands and better fathers. So, as father, I'm always thinking about the future and how my kids are going to live in the future. I believe that we all spent some time in a school system that told us not to bring our emotions to our job or our work, not to believe and trust our intuitions, and a school system that told us just to memorize and apply, memorize and apply, memorize and apply. And that's exactly what the modern machines do. Today, with AI, you can just have an assistant and do things within machine, with a robot. And I believe that in this world, in this modern world with machines, we have a superpower. And our superpower is our emotions, our intuitions, and our feelings. We have to go back and find this little kid that we all once was. So, in the next 20 years, we had some revolutions, like web in the 2000s, and then social media, and then mobile phones, and then the cloud. And we are asking ourselves in the last decade, what is the next big platform shift? Somebody could tell that maybe it's voice, or maybe blockchain, and there is some people that believe that metaverse is the future. I believe that just Mark Zuckerberg believes that. But right now, everybody's talking about AI. And this is Satya Nadella, last week, presenting AI as the next big revolution in the world of technology. And this is Sundar Pichai speaking about AI in the last Google conference. Let's hear it.
AI, generative AI, generative AI, generative AI, AI, AI. It uses AI to bring AI.
Amazing! And after that, Google stock soared $55 billion. And NVIDIA, after said that the AI revolution is going to be a big revolution for NVIDIA, their stock soared like 20% in the stock market in the United States. So what can AI do for us? If you ask an AI, Midjourney, to generate some images, a year ago, you asked for a developer, an image of developer, you would have this one. And 6 months later, you have this one, like photographs. The AI can generate photographs for us, and right now, a year later, we have these amazing images generated by AI, just machines doing better than humans in generating great images. So these are going to impact the food industry, these are going to impact the building design, these are going to impact the fashion industry. AI right now can generate some images that are going to impact our advertising, and maybe brand creation, and maybe product creation. And this is a Gucci photo shoot in a Florida swamp generated by an AI. It's amazing. These amazing images can be generated within seconds by a robot, by a machine. You can just write it down in plain English, sweet style photo, side angle, close-up shot, Nike Air Force, with Nike and Harry Potter, and then you have the Gryffindor sneaker. Who here likes Gryffindor? Make some noise. Who here likes Slytherin? Make some noise. Oh, the snake swan here. You have this Slytherin Nike Air with some snake, and you have the possibility to blend together two brands that you like. Maybe imagine some partnership, collaboration with IKEA and Patagonia, and within seconds you have this product that does not exist, but the machines can generate for you. And Photoshop just announced that they are doing with AI, editing photos with AI. You just have to know how to write, and you can change the things in the photos. So imagine that. I don't like orange juice, so I want some coffee. You just write coffee. You don't even know how to draw or to edit photos. You just have to write it down. I want some donuts, and here you go. I want this in real life. So I can just ask for some donuts right now, and some donuts appear here in front of me. So if you want to generate some video games for your brand, if you want to be a video game designer, with 5 simple steps, you can generate a video game within minutes, something that would take maybe days or months, you right now has the possibility to just ask ChatGPT to generate some game for you, like Flappy Bird. And if you want some characters for your game, you just ask, write it down in the prompt in Mid-Journey, realistic 3D render of a happy, furry, and cute baby tiger smiling with big eyes, and you have your characters for your brand, or maybe for your company, or maybe for your video game. Right now, we can make some logos using AI, and I thought that maybe we can make a brand new product right now. Everybody here, okay? Do you guys like beer? You guys like beer? I love beer, yeah? Beer is good. So let's create a Soft Summit beer, okay? Let's create a Soft Summit beer, and I'm going to Soft Summit beer, the Innovator's Delight. A homage to Clayton Christensen, the Innovator's Dilemma. So Soft Summit beer, we just ask for some images and click in continue. So they are going to generate some logos for us, and we choose some logos and we apply in merge. Okay, I like this one. So we can just ask for ChatGPT to create a text for us, a text that will present our product to the world, the Soft Summit beer to the world. ChatGPT is right now writing it down, the text that will present our beer to the world, and I can take my image and style it in Mid-Journey to look like a lumberjack. So right now, we have a face for our brand, a lumberjack face for our brand. And right now, I am training my voice with an AI. So this AI can speak like me. And right now, I can have myself as a lumberjack, the logo of my company, and I'm going to present the text that ChatGPT write it down for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, gather round. Tonight I'm here to introduce you to a beer that breaks all boundaries, a beer that's made for the fearless, the relentless, and the trailblazers in the world of technology. Welcome to the world of South Summit, a beer for the bold and audacious.
Fantastic! And since the AI knows how to speak like me, I can make the AI speak in Spanish.
Estoy aquí para presentarles una cerveza que rompe todos los límites. Una cerveza hecha para los intrépidos y los pioneros en el mundo de la tecnología. Bienvenido al mundo de South Summit, una cerveza para atrevidos y audaces.
And since I can generate any voice, maybe Elon Musk prove our beer.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is Elon Musk. I love the South Summit beer. It's perfect to drink before my rocket launches. Next year, I want to be in Madrid with you guys. I want to be at South Summit 2024 and drink this amazing beer. Call me please. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Elon. Do you know how to speak in Spanish?
Damas y caballeros, aquí está Elon Musk. Me encanta la cerveza South Summit. Es perfecto para beber antes del lanzamiento de mi cohete. El año que viene quiero estar en Madrid con vosotros. Quiero estar en South Summit 2024 y beber esta increíble cerveza. Llámame, por favor. Adiós.
A hand of applause to Elon Musk, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. And if we want some app for our beer, we could just write it down. I want an app for my beer. And some AI can generate an app, and you can edit the app in Figma. You just ask for the app. And sometimes people told me that when I present something, that when I present this everybody can be a specialist in anything. You just type it down, the subject, what you want to present, and you have the presentation right here with AI. And the question is, are we becoming superhumans? Are we becoming more productive with AI? Because right now AI can edit some video for you, and AI can generate a whole website for you within seconds. And when I showed this to people, everybody told me, oh, Marcos, Piagers, these are going to make every website looks the same. Every website will look the same if an AI does the websites. And what I say to people is that every website is already the same. These are websites made by real people, human beings, they are all the same. The problem is not the AI are going to make stuff for us. The problem is that we are behaving like robots. We take the same photograph every day in the Instagram, using the same hashtags and dancing the same dances in TikToks. We are becoming robots, and this is the problem. People have become robots. People have just spend some time in the school and learn how to memorize and apply, memorize and apply. And we all do the same things every day. We have to be human again. We have to connect with our emotions, our feelings. We have to connect with our intuitions. We have to connect we have the best. So here we have more than 100 years fearing that machines are going to replace us. And I say that the research shows that the skills CEOs consider most important are those that can't be replaced by machines, like innovation, leadership, collaboration, emotional intelligence. Software cannot imitate passion, character, and collaborative spirit. And I leave you guys with this one. It seems it's now the human heart rather than our ability to just think and imitate and do the same thing every day that make us different from machines. I say that, bring your heart to your job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was fantastic. Thank you, Marcos. That was very energetic and very insightful regarding AI and what you can do. Amazing. Okay. Next up. Huh? Okay, fine. Perfect. So, here we are. So, we've just had a very exciting talk on the future and what you can do with AI. And now we're going to be talking about waste management. And we are doing a panel on waste not, want not, sustainable solutions for waste management. Joining me today on this panel, we have Frederic Kaufmann, who is CEO at the Never Rest Project. Frederic, come up. And we have Arantxa Martin Perez, New Markets Development Director at Veolia. So welcome both, and looking forward to our talk.
Thank you.
So, I'm going to be... Do you want to sit?
Okay.
And I'll... Actually, no, sorry. You're there, and I'm here. I always get it the wrong way around. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. So let me just come to my notes here. It's nice to meet you. It all kind of came together a little bit last minute, but here we are.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you know that globally we produce approximately 2.0 billion metric tons of municipal solid waste each year? This is a staggering amount of waste, and it poses significant environmental and health challenges, and highlighting the urgent need for sustainable solutions in waste management. And today we have gathered experts here on this panel to explore innovative strategies and technologies that can help move towards the future, where waste is minimized, resources are maximized, and our planet is preserved for generations to come. And with us today, Arantxa, I would love to, hear about you and your journey. Just a couple of minutes, just to sort of explain how you got into Veolia, how you came to work for Veolia.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. I am Veolia just for 3 months, so it's not so
Short
much.
time.
Yeah, but I came from another company, it's a relationship with the same BAT as Veolia, so I know about this.
Great, okay, so your journey has always been in sustainability?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And Frederic, tell us a little bit about your sort of background and how you sort of came to be the CEO at the Never Rest Project.
Correct, yes. Thank you. Good morning, Katrina, and thanks to South Summit for this great event. I'm CEO of the Everest Project, an environmental and engineering technological company facing one of the highest challenges in the world, that is cleaning Mount Everest. You see in the last weeks a lot of videos regarding waste in places in high altitude. We are in this problematic.
Okay, so you're helping with, you know, the sort of base camp of Mount Everest, basically, and making it more sustainable for tourism.
Exactly. The thing is, in terms of few data, interesting data to know a little bit the situation in the base camp.
Yes.
The base camp of the Sagarmatha Park, and especially the Everest base camp and the other camp force, receive per year more or less 50 tons of inorganic waste. There's more than 12 tons of organic waste over there in the base camp. And for example, during the season, we have more than 4,000 pee directly on the floor every day.
4,000?
4,000 liters, exactly.
Liters?
Exactly.
Wow.
So
Okay.
we face this challenge with it's something huge. And the problem is, when we talk about waste management over there, I think we need to start from the zero because there's nothing. No? So the challenge is very high. So we are using as a model, a role model, the Everest, with the idea to replicate and implement all this technology and this knowledge to any place and any national park or natural park around the world.
Okay, so just out of interest, why did you choose to work with Mount Everest in particular, rather than sort of, you know, in general waste management, just out of interest?
The reason is, first of all, because it's the icon of the wall. No?
Yeah.
I think he represents our icon. I think the Everest is a little bit part of all of us. No? We are all connected with this mountain, and when we saw this kind of news of people consuming nature in this aggressive side, I think it's very interesting to start with this role model, and after this we can replicate this in other places around the world.
Okay, nice. And Arantxa, you know, just tell us a little bit about Veolia and sort of your role there. You know, what...
Okay. Well, Veolia Group's ambition is to become a reference company in ecological transformation. For all of you that you don't know, historically it's a French company, and naturally European and operationally and international. No? It's present on the 5 continents, and with nearly 220,000 employees all over the world. In 2022, Veolia Group supplied 111 million people with drinking water, and 97 million with water services, and produce about 44 terabytes of energy recovered for waste.
Okay. And so your company is, you know, give some examples of how you are improving, you know, waste,
Okay.
sort of, with water, for example.
With water. In waste, I am going to talk about Spain, because my area of work is Spain.
Of course, yeah.
And in Spain, we have, we have our mission is to landfill zero, because you know that now the Union European directive is going to be applied now, and all of us has this challenge, no? And we have three exploitations. One in Madrid, it's called Valdemín Gómez, who receive all the waste from household from the City Council of Madrid. And we made incineration, and with this waste we obtain the electricity in order to produce the heat we need to incinerate the waste. Right. This is in Madrid.
Okay.
And
so explain, yeah, how that works. Sorry.
After we have also another exploitation in the north, in Barcelona, in Mataró.
Okay.
And
where I'm based.
Yeah, and Mataró really is. We have. This is not only ours. We have 40% of the. It's a UT. We are with another company. And there we treat 280 tons of waste directly managed by us. And after we have also 41 tons that they are being for us for other suppliers.
Okay.
And what we do there is we compost, we make methanization, and also take energy recovery for this plant. So,
okay.
Our challenge is from the waste to the energy, no?
Yeah, so you're basically composting the waste to create energy.
Energy.
Yeah, and what sort of energy are you building from it?
Sometimes this energy, it depends on the process. Sometimes we use in the cycle that we need energy inside at this moment in order to heat or to manage the waste. And sometimes we transform in biogas.
Biogas, okay. And the water here in Madrid is to create electricity. Is that what I understood?
No, the one in Madrid is we use this in our own process. We need it for the incineration of the waste.
Okay. So how do you manage that?
We manage that because the waste we produce, we have a turbine,
yeah.
that it transforms the heat in electricity.
In electricity?
Electricity, it heats the water that we need for incineration.
I see. Okay, very good. So, you know, and sort of, Frederic, sort of explain, you know, what you're doing in terms of like improving waste and, you know, at Mount Everest, for example.
Exactly. In this first stage, first of all, we need to understand exactly the extension of the problematic, because you have a lot of media talking about 50 tons, 30 tons, 60 tons. So we need to have a real field study to define and to get this roadmap. In parallel, we are working, and we're going to present this in the next months, the first sustainable base camp for Everest, in terms of a place where we can manage everything related with your journey in these 45 days in this place. Okay.
Right.
So we're going to present this, and very, very proud about this, because I think it's the first stage and the first step to have this relation between tourism and local communities. No?
Very much. So are they working? So how many out of interest, how many tourists visit base camp every year?
How many? We are talking about 1 million of persons are going to Nepal to make mountaineering activity, trekking, alpinism, a lot of activities. An amazing country, an amazing country.
Amazing.
Exactly.
So how did you discover it? Did you you went there to climb Mount Everest? Or what?
I went to the base camp 2 years ago. And when I arrived over there, I was surprised. Then this is something amazing, because you arrive to a place, you are in 5,600 meters with not too much oxygen and very slowly walking. And suddenly you arrive to a kind of city, because you have 3,000 people living there for 3 months. But you have cinemas, you have restaurants, you have 5G, you have everything. Everything.
Wow.
So it's so crazy. When I saw all this and how the waste is managed and everything, we need to make something, because there's nothing right now. There's nothing right now. So that's the objective, the main objective of this sustainable base camp.
Right. So how long have you been building this project, and how far are we into sort of making an impact?
We started the Everest project 4 years ago. This project was born for a personal indignation of the situation, of the global situation. So I tried to bring the best talent in terms of engineering, in terms of climate change expertise, ambassadors, and trying to face this challenge and try to make this strategy to act and find solutions for the problematic. We already closed agreement with the government of Nepal. Of course, we need to be aligned with the public sector. We are not public, we are private, but we are working in collaboration with the government of Nepal.
Oh, great. And you talked about communities, how do you get them involved? How do you get tourists to help with the local communities, for example?
Our idea of tourism, I think tourism until now need to be updated. I think tourism is very aggressive, okay? The way to make tourism need to have a change, okay? And we go directly in this kind of concept that we are talking right now. This is the regenerative tourism, okay? So leave the place better than you found it, okay? So if I'm going to visit some places, I need to revert my good actions in the country, okay? Proximity, trying to improve local communities, to respect traditions. We need to change our point of view in tourism. So okay. I think it's so important. So what we are doing is explaining to the tourism that you need to respect the place and the way to do things in this country. Okay, because you have a very cultural contrast when you have people coming from, I don't know, United States to Nepal. Without this local knowledge, without these Sherpas, it's impossible to make the summit of the mountain. So you need to respect all this, okay? And that's the way to change this tourism to a regenerative tourism.
Right, okay. So, you've talked about communities at base camp, but how can we promote, behavioral changes and encourage individuals to adopt sustainable waste management practices?
First of all, we need to make an awareness individually, okay? We need to call the individual responsibility, okay? People need to understand that governments can help to clean, but if you are not taking your commitment with the environment of the people, it's impossible to make nothing. So we are trying, and we are working with Veolia. I'm very happy to meet today at Anzathu because exactly, we are developing an impact engine to understand your impact depending your altitude and your journey, okay? So depending your journey, you have a day impact, and so we can monetize this impact, and what we do is revert this amount and we distribute to education, to local communities, to mountaineering associations, to national park management. This is a little bit the high concept. So we integrate the tourism and they can assist and interact with the country positively.
Right, so you've built an app to measure people's behaviour and sort of how they can improve in terms of their own habits. How is Veolia helping, for example, with people's habits? How are you impacting and how are you helping here?
He's working with the international Veolia, and I think he's trying to improve the system he has discovered.
Exactly.
He's going to make a project there, a pilot.
Right. And Veolia is supporting you, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. We need this kind of alliances in these objectives and development goals to have these international companies that support our I don't want to say startup, because I think we are more a necessity than a startup, but we need the help of these companies, because after this expertise, we're going to implement this around the world. So Veolia is around the world, and they can help us to manage all this waste. And not only this, what we do with the waste, because once we have the waste, we can find a logistical system. For example, we are working with drone companies to put the waste from 5,000 to 2,000, but what we do with this waste. So we need to connect with international companies and find solutions and find energy or find whatever.
Okay, very good. And Arantxa, what are the challenges, for example, and opportunities associated with implementing waste to energy, for example, technologies in different regions?
Now we have the challenge of the plastic, no? As you know now, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, it was the International Day and with the lemma with no plastics, no?
No plastics,
no plastics. And it's really, we have the challenge of recycling plastics. It's not easy, because when you have to recycle the plastic and they are mixed, it's very difficult. That's why now I think in Spain, at least, there's the percentage of recycling plastic is about 10%. Though others materials as carton, bricks, and others, it's about 50% of the waste. So we have to increase this.
Okay.
And we have the obligation, no? Because as I said to you, with the Union European directive, we have to arrive to 50% of recycling plastic. It's not easy because it's expensive, no? Because the technology is not as easy as the other materials.
Right. So what sort of technology are we talking? How does technology play a role in waste management?
The technology plays the role that because all the things you need good machines in order to separate with different lights in order to classify the waste, because there are 7 types of plastic, so really not everything is plastic. No? I was going to ask to Frederick how much plastic did he find was there is.
How much
50% or, you know?
We are talking about, yes, 50%. In terms of data, and that's why we need to make this field study to have the reality. But we are talking about 50 tons per year.
50 tons, wow.
Amazing.
Okay,
so
my
crazy.
goodness.
In all the region, but it's something huge.
Okay, so how are we regenerating that plastic? I mean, how is technology helping with that?
The technology is helping because now the price of the machines they are lower, and we are. I think that everyone has conscious with this.
Yes.
So Veolia, for example, has bought,
including South Summit.
Yeah, there is no water.
Yeah.
So Veolia has bought two industries in Spain, one in Badajoz, Torrepet,
oh yes,
where they recycle 120 tons of plastic by year. So it's the first industry of recycling PET in Spain. And it helps very much to the companies, to the industry, to agroalimentary industry and the others. And Veolia has also has bought just 1 year ago, at least, not more than a year ago, another company in Seville, it's called La Red, where they recycle all types of plastic, not only PET, that propylene and the others. So how we can help? We can help being really the leader of recycling plastic in Spain, no? And helping the other companies and the other industry, no? Because you know that now I think we have a problem with supermarkets and everything because there is more plastic, no? And now the families are with less people and everything is so much compartmentalized, no? And so instead of buying 1 kilo of fruit, you buy 3 pieces and they are with plastic.
Right.
So we have to think about this, how we're still alive, how we are buying and so on.
So what would you say are the solutions to improving, buying and sort of, making better decisions when it comes to improving waste?
I think the solution is just to not to put the plastic outside, no? I think, of course, we have to recycle the plastic, but the bad is also not to use as much as we are using now.
Right. So when it comes to personal habits, using, better choices, basically, in terms of materials.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, how are governments supporting, for example, and policymakers? How are they incentivizing businesses and to adopt sustainable waste management practices?
In Spain now, once the Union European has made the directive, all the regions has his own law about this, and they are trying to go out this. Andalusia is just passed 1 month ago, and we are starting now in the way to to go together with the same challenge.
Right.
Because it's a question of everyone, citizens, administration, industry.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everybody needs
I
to...
think
Exactly. No, and I think this is the main thing. We have two things. The responsibility, governments, individual, everyone needs to push on the same direction, but everyone needs to be aligned with the main objective and with education, with whatever, because we cannot point only a government to say this is dirty, you need to clean this. No, I have my responsibility as individual. And the second point, and I think is so interesting, is how we pay this. We are talking about machines, we are talking about implementation, huge companies around the world. What is the cost to clean all this? So we need to have the capacity to create a business with the plastic and the waste management, because if there's no business behind, we cannot depend from a budget of a government. We don't know how many in our budget, how many our needs to clean all this. No? The government of Nepal, for example, or other places around the world, because this problem is not only in Nepal, it's around the world. You have Kilimanjaro, you have Mont Blanc, you have McKinley, you have anywhere in the world you have this problem. Nobody knows the real impact in terms of cost. So we need to create this economy, and we can distribute and invest in technology, in engineering, in whatever.
And so who's supporting you, Frederick, for example? How are you getting funded?
At the moment, our kind of startup maybe is a little bit different. We don't want to depend about VCs because we consider we need to create a business with a very quick front cash. Because if not, we depend from VCs, we depend from the global economy, we depend of companies, we depend of everyone. And this is a problem, for example, in Europe. No? You have a government changing and everything is stopped, everything is down. So we cannot put this critical risk in terms of humanity in hands of changes. No? We need to have our auto-independence regarding economy. No? So now we have a local support. We are not a global company. We just license and we just advise the countries. For example, in Nepal, we work with a local company or an operation company that we support, okay? And we have this support in terms of financial to implement this in Nepal. But we are just born 4 months ago, so probably in the next month everything is going to change.
Right. So, you know, when we talk about sort of challenges, we talked about plastic and water use and waste. What other challenges do you see that we are sort of having to face?
I think that the big challenge, if I look this project in 10 years, goal, I think to have the capacity to manage every natural space in the world. Any place, because, for example, in Barcelona, we have Collserola Park, it's the biggest metropolitan European park in Barcelona. This park receives more than 4,000 per weekend of people making bikes and hike. This is much more than Everest. And the impact is high as well. Of course, we have resources and we can clean everything, but I think the solution is not to clean. I think the solution is to send and make awareness. No? Then I think we have these two movements, no? To have a technology that can implement and obtain data and obtain information about how we can manage these parks and make awareness to every individual person to understand in one time that it's good to celebrate the Environmental Day every year from 50 years, but I think when we need to do something, everyone is looking in another place.
Right. So technology can assist with, you know, basically assessing the situation and then creating better habits, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. And, you know, what are, you know, sort of in terms of how can we ensure equitable sort of distribution of waste management services and infrastructure, you know, particularly in disadvantaged communities around you? Can you sort of, you know, how can we manage that in disadvantaged communities globally?
In Nepal, did you say, or all over the world? No.
Just, I mean, I'm talking about particularly in disadvantaged communities. How do we manage waste?
Well, I think the problem is that I think that what happened now is that...
Like India, for example.
Like India. I think that the problem is that there is no conscience about this, no? Because the first thing is to have to communicate and to make the education about this. And like Philippines, the other day I see on the TV also there was a film about Philippines and how
in the
Philippines how small people, childs, they were there living in the same house with waste, and it's terrible. But for them, the problem is that everything is very it's very difficult because they don't know really what's the big problem they have. It's going to be if we don't take care about this.
Right.
So it's a question of culture, and the first thing is like here in Spain, no? When you say now I have 3 children, and now sometimes they told me, mother, you don't have to put this in this bottle, this in the other. So it has to be inside each one in order to improve the recycle.
So it's about educating the children, educating the younger people, and changing their mindsets and creating, again, better habits. So it all comes down to the individual.
Yeah.
Local communities has a big paper to play. In terms, for example, Nepal, everything related with mountains are very connected with the religion. So they are there to protect and try to be ambassadors of this management. No? So we need to explain in terms of education, and they need to lead this challenge as well, because if not, if the local community and the local knowledge is not in the middle of the problematic, it's impossible to do anything. So it's so important.
Okay. So what would you say to all of us here, in terms of how can we create a better, more sustainable future for each of us? What advice would you give, starting with you, Frédéric?
From my side, I think everything is possible, and now times are changing, and I think it's important to let you know that I changed all my life. I come from another sector. 4 years ago, I started this kind of project. Today, I'm doing something totally crazy and totally new. So we have a lot of opportunities in terms of sustainability and project management and whatever. I don't have expertise. I have the expertise to connect people and to bring talent. So I think you are the power, you are the young people, and you can help all this problematic to the world.
Perfect. And Arantxa, just one quick comment?
I think that the future is not a question of the government, or it's a question of everyone, no? And overall, these young people who are listening to us. So the future is a question of we have the same challenge for us, and we have to work for it.
Yeah, so as an individual, we all need to make an impact. Thank you, both of you, and lovely to talk to you. Thank you.
Claro, hacemos una foto, ven.
Okay, so we've just talked about the waste management and how we can improve our habits, our daily habits, and also make an impact globally. Next up, oh yes, you want a photo? Sorry. There we go. Oh, okay, yes, here, there we go. Hey.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Will you share the photo?
Thank you very much.
Will you share?
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, I send it to you.
On my email.
I sent to David, no?
Yes.
To Caroline.
Caroline. Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. Okay, so we just talked about waste not, want not, and now we're going to be talking about acceleration and social impact funds. And joining us today on the stage, we have Jose Moncada, who is CEO at Fondo La Bolsa Social. Is he here? Oh, over here. Sorry, we'll let them come in. I'll let you come down. There we go. So please welcome to the stage Jose Moncada, CEO at Fonda La Bolsa Social. Maria Masso, Deputy Chief Executive Officer at Fundacio at Ship2Be. Oh, we've all come up. And we also have Concha Guerra, General Director at Net Mentora. And we have Jose Luis over here. Jose Luis. There we go, yeah. Who is General Director at Fundacio Once. And Jesus Hernandez, Director of Accessibility and Innovation at Fundacio Once. Welcome. And I'm going to let you moderate.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Muchísimas gracias por venir. El panel lo vamos a hacer en español. Nos ocurre habitualmente lo de Once Foundation, nos ocurre con muchísima frecuencia, pero somos la Fundación 11. Muchísimas gracias. Bueno, bienvenidos a este panel que vamos a hablar sobre impacto social, sobre emprendimiento, sobre aceleración, sobre crecimiento y sobre inversión en entidades, en startups con impacto social. De hecho, ayer tuvimos una mesa, un panel en el que hablamos de cómo las corporates se están involucrando en el impacto social. Tuvimos un panel conducido por Alberto Tornero, socio de Price, que nos está ayudando muchísimo en desarrollar nuestra actividad en emprendimiento con impacto social. Contamos con el Banco de Santander, Sabadell. Contamos con Mafre y contamos también con Repsol. Y hoy contamos con entidades que están directamente involucradas dentro de su ADN, dentro de su actividad principal está el impacto social. Vamos a empezar lanzando una pregunta simple, sencilla, pero completa, ¿no? En el que vamos a hacer un recorrido de cómo afrontamos desde el principio el trabajar en impacto social, cuáles fueron los problemas con los que nos encontramos o os encontrasteis en un principio, cómo lo habéis ido resolviendo y ahora cuáles son los retos de futuro. Como sabéis, tenemos solo 35 minutos, con lo cual pues en torno a 6-7 minutos cada uno en vuestra intervención. Si os parece, podemos empezar por José Luis Martínez Donoso, director general de la Fundación 11. José Luis, cuando quieras.
Buenos días a todas y a todos. Gracias, Jesús. Lo hace con cariño darme el primero, que siempre es mejor ser el segundo o el tercero, pero bueno, yo se lo tendré en cuenta en los futuros días. Bueno, pues oye, muchísimas gracias por la oportunidad que tiene la Fundación 11 de exponer, ¿no? qué es lo que nosotros, cómo hemos empezado en esto y hasta dónde queremos llegar. La Fundación 11 tenía un acercamiento por parte de los emprendedores, de las startups, sobre todo en qué les podíamos ayudar, ¿no? Les podíamos ayudar y cómo podíamos apoyarles también en la financiación. Ese es el origen de nuestra primera reflexión a tenor de las grandes peticiones, del volumen de peticiones que teníamos al respecto. Y nos pusimos a trabajar en ello, nos pusimos a trabajar donde tratamos de dar cobertura a las dos variables, ¿no? La primera es pues validarles sus proyectos que lógicamente les apoyábamos no solo en el análisis, sino también en las correcciones o las orientaciones que estos debieran tener. Y una segunda era pues bueno, ver cómo también podíamos acompañarles en la parte de financiación. Ese es el origen de nuestra entrada en este sistema. Y el devenir nos ha ido pues llevando a tener que ir perfeccionándolo y mejorando. Los datos son muy importantes. Total que hemos dado 17, digamos, acercamientos a nuestro proyecto. De los 17, 12 son empresas válidamente constituidas, empresas además que a día de hoy están activas todas ellas al 100%, es decir, que no ha habido afortunadamente ninguna que se desesperara en el tiempo y algunas de muchísima referencia, ¿no? Es decir, hemos desde el plan médico, pues el primer exoesqueleto a nivel mundial para la infancia, pues ha sido con una empresa española apoyada por la Fundación 11 en el inicio y que está teniendo una larga trayectoria. También en materia educativa, pues un dispositivo de acercamiento a todos los estudiantes para que nadie se quede atrás teniendo la discapacidad que tenga, pero el producto es tan válido que ya los estudiantes sin discapacidad lo quieren para recibir sus clases en las propias universidades, ¿no? Yo destacaría, en todo caso, que en este momento estas entidades tienen 5 millones de euros que están demandando para sus crecimientos, con lo cual significa que están vivas, que están alertas, que tienen futuro, y nosotros vamos a dar un paso más, y es un paso más donde en unos días constituiremos una entidad mercantil desde la propia Fundación 11 que esté relacionada con los fondos de impacto, fondos de inversión, de innovación y de impacto social. La Fundación 11 no solo se está en este momento valorando esta sociedad, sino que ya venimos participando muy activamente en materia legislativa, tanto en la europea como en la española, donde el impacto social va a tener y tiene en este momento, por aprobaciones que se producen en Europa y que se han producido recientemente en España, y por el segundo semestre de la presidencia española, donde os pido que estéis muy alerta, muy atentos, porque se van a habilitar una cantidad de fondos muy importantes relacionados con inversiones que tengan impacto social. Sabéis que el impacto social tiene un abanico muy amplio. Nosotros como fundación nos centraremos más en la discapacidad, pero eso no quita que ese impacto social, esos indicadores, sean de un amplio espectro y que podáis inmersar en ellos. Nosotros estamos convencidos, ¿no?, que es el futuro, y por eso llevamos tiempo con Spainaz, por eso llevamos tiempo en otras entidades de fondos de impacto, donde hemos ido a aprender para luego poder nosotros trasladar a nuestro modelo pues todas estas acciones. Todo nos viene por Jesús, el que está haciendo de moderador, nuestro director de accesibilidad, que es un hombre muy avanzado en los tiempos, y os puedo decir que Jesús, a este que os habla, pues posiblemente, si habláramos de hace 12 o 15 años, quería hacer lo que hacemos hoy. Figuraros si es una persona avanzada. Es decir, que yo le agradezco a Jesús esa inquietud, que empuje el árbol de la Fundación 11, porque tenemos que dar respuesta, y una respuesta anticipada. Y yo creo que Jesús es un poco dónde estábamos, dónde estamos y dónde queremos llegar.
Yo creo que en estos años de recorrido hemos conseguido el posicionar a la Fundación 11, ¿no?, en el ámbito del emprendimiento social, aunque el Grupo Social 11 como tal fue un emprendedor. Hace más de 80 años, en su momento, la 11 montó una startup y ahora somos una gran corporate, ¿no?
Somos el cuarto empleador de este país, ¿no?, de no administración pública, y el primero a nivel mundial de personas con discapacidad. Yo creo que ese emprendimiento social está en el ADN desde que se constituyó en el 38, y tenemos el claro ejemplo de Ilunion, ¿no?, donde Ilunion realmente es un claro modelo y componente donde la rentabilidad económica y la rentabilidad social es posible. Y ese es el modelo que queremos llevar también a las pequeñas iniciativas empresariales que se acerquen a nosotros.
Genial. Pues si os parece, hablamos de inversión de impacto con la Bolsa Social, con José Moncada, con su director general y fundador del Fondo de la Bolsa Social, porque es importante, ¿no?, el que se dote de fondos, se dote de inversión a estas startups para que realmente puedan tener la gasolina suficiente como para poder llevar a cabo su emprendimiento. Pues, si nos cuentas un poco.
Sí, pues en primer lugar, muchísimas gracias por invitarme a estar aquí, un placer. Y estar junto a la ONCE, que efectivamente, es que hay que decirlo muy alto y muy claro, es la empresa social más grande que hay en España, la más grande, ¿no? Y por tanto, y de bandera en toda Europa. Dos palabras sobre la Bolsa Social. Nosotros empezamos en 2015 haciendo inversión de impacto social, entonces nos has pedido que miremos hacia atrás, ¿no? Y es bonito, ya ha pasado 8 años, y luego lo haré un poco sobre el futuro. Nacimos como la Bolsa Social son dos cosas, es la plataforma de inversión Bolsa Social, que nace en 2015 haciendo inversión de impacto social con startups de impacto social y medioambiental, abierta a todo el mundo, la primera entidad autorizada por la CNMV de inversión de impacto social en España, y que desde entonces ha financiado ya cerca de 40 startups de ámbitos muy diversos, desde el cuidado de las personas mayores o la tecnología para cuidar de personas con discapacidad, o la agricultura ecológica, la movilidad sostenible, la moda sostenible, etcétera, ¿no? Que es una comunidad, los inversores es una comunidad abierta, cualquier persona puede invertir a través de la plataforma Bolsa Social. Y ya en 2020 lanzamos, junto con AFI, con analistas financieros internacionales, un fondo, el Fondo Bolsa Social, que es una entidad separada, independiente de la plataforma Bolsa Social, que es autónoma, tiene su propio equipo y su propio proceso de toma de decisiones, independiente, y que es un fondo de 22 millones de euros para invertir en startups de impacto social, que bebe de la experiencia que fuimos acumulando desde el año 2015 en invertir en startups de impacto social. Echando la vista para atrás, ¿qué vemos? Bueno, pues cuando en 2015 empezábamos a hablar de inversión de impacto social, pues la verdad es que nos miraban muy raro, no nos entendían. Decía, ¿pero qué sois? ¿Sois unos criptocomunistas que venís a destrozar el capitalismo? O por el contrario, cuando hablabas con entidades sociales, ¿qué sois? ¿Sois unos criptocapitalistas que venís a destrozar, a privatizar el sector social y tal y cual? Entonces hubo un tema cultural muy importante de trabajar junto con otros al inicio, como CREAS, como Ship2B, que también estuvo desde el principio, GAWA, pero éramos muy poquitos, se contaban con los dedos de una mano, ¿no? en el año 2015, pues de evangelizar, ¿no? de decir, mira, que existe la posibilidad de invertir tu dinero buscando una rentabilidad legítima, pero además apoyar a empresas que ponen a las personas y al planeta en el centro, que cuidan de las personas del planeta, no que se sirven de las personas y del planeta, que era el modelo del que venimos, que nos lleva al desastre climático y al aumento de las desigualdades. Porque existe un modelo económico, que es crear empresas de impacto social, que funciona, que tiene sentido. Hay que saber seleccionar, evidentemente, separar, porque hay muchas iniciativas muy bonitas, pero en las que no se puede invertir, y otras iniciativas de impacto social que pueden escalar, que pueden generar muchísimo impacto y que tienen una promesa de rentabilidad razonable. Y cada vez lo que hemos visto es que hay una mayor conciencia. Aumenta la conciencia por parte de los inversores, ¿no? Yo, si queréis hablar de retos, a lo mejor lo divido en 4 y ya me proyecto hacia el futuro, ¿no? Porque lo que hemos visto estos años es que cada vez más actores entran y es maravilloso que la Fundación 11 entre en este ecosistema. Era natural que entrase la Fundación 11, es una apuesta muy innovadora y cada vez hay más gente que quiere consumir productos con impacto social positivo, que ya no, que le importe de dónde vienen las prendas, la comida que consume, etcétera, ¿no? Cuál es la reputación de la empresa que está consumiendo sus bienes, etcétera, ¿no? Y cada vez hay más inversores que quieren apostar por obtener una rentabilidad que no solo no dañe al planeta y a los demás, que sería la inversión llamada sostenible, sino que además, oye, que tengan productos o servicios que sean positivos, que sean buenos para enfrentar a los retos tan enormes que tenemos como sociedad. Estos retos que están muy bien enmarcados en los 17 Objetivos de Desarrollo Sostenible de Naciones Unidas, ¿no? Y en ese sentido, quizá 4 ángulos de retos, ¿no? Yo creo que por la parte de los inversores sigue estando el tema cultural, el tema de entender que se puede invertir en impacto razonablemente y con buen apoyo por parte de los profesionales y obtener una rentabilidad razonable y además generar un impacto positivo medible, que eso es muy importante en la inversión de impacto, medir bien el impacto que estamos generando y establecer claros objetivos con una buena teoría del cambio, de qué queremos transformar con nuestra inversión. Y en esa labor cultural estamos, desde SpainNav, que es la asociación de inversión de impacto de España, donde está también la ONCE, está también Ship2B. Estamos tratando de impulsar esta idea, ¿no? De que, primero, definir qué es la inversión de impacto, que mucha gente la confunde con la inversión sostenible. Y también hay un proceso de un poco de impact washing que estamos viendo, ¿no? De gente que, bueno, pues como al olor de la sardina, pues ahora algunos actores un poco escrupulosos pues se presentan como de impacto y no lo son, ¿no? Y creo que es muy importante preservar la integridad del impacto. Ahí desde SpainNav hemos publicado un paper recientemente, un position paper, definiendo qué es la inversión de impacto, que está claramente definida por sus 3 pilares. Intencionalidad, invertir con la misión de generar un impacto positivo. No es algo incidental, es la misión de ese fondo o de esa entidad que está haciendo la inversión de impacto. Medición, lo he dicho ya, es fundamental medir si nos importa el impacto y es parte de nuestro concepto de rentabilidad, no es solo dinero, es un resultado positivo en la sociedad, es muy importante medirlo y gestionar, para poder gestionar ese impacto. En tercer lugar, la adicionalidad, realmente provocar un cambio, una contribución con nuestra inversión. Por parte de los intermediarios que estamos ahí haciendo inversión de impacto, lo que tenemos que hacer es ser más audaces quizá, ¿no? Ver lo que se está haciendo fuera de nuestro entorno. Creo que hay instrumentos de inversión de equity, pero necesitamos hacer más deuda, por ejemplo, que encaja mucho mejor con ciertas entidades sociales que no pueden recibir equity por su propia filosofía. Y luego, por parte de la Administración Pública, y aquí ya me callo, creo que es muy importante que se apueste por generar un ecosistema de inversión de impacto fuerte, como se ha hecho en países de nuestro entorno, en Francia, en Reino Unido, en Portugal. Y ahí es muy prometedor, estos fondos europeos que mencionabas antes, José Luis, tiene una línea dirigida a crear un fondo público de inversión de impacto social que creo que puede dinamizar muchísimo el ecosistema de inversión de impacto social.
Genial. Y sí es cierto que hemos visto una evolución del greenwashing al impact washing. Ahora han ampliado el foco del washing, ¿no?
Sí, 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 efectivamente han ampliado el foco del washing. Es gracioso ver la evolución. En 2015 éramos unos marcianos y ahora estamos de moda, ¿no? Y entonces, bueno, eso es muy positivo, pero tiene ese lado negativo. Sin más, que hay que estar atentos, hay que saber separar el grano de la paja, ¿no?
Genial. Muy bien, ahora vamos a dar paso a la Fundación Shift2B. María Masola, su directora general, está con nosotros, lleva trabajando en el ámbito del emprendimiento y del impacto desde hace muchísimos años. Ha estado en 5 países, está viviendo en 5 países, con lo cual también tiene esa visión global, internacional de lo que es el emprendimiento con impacto social. La Fundación Shift2B, una fundación muy global, porque también tenéis fondo de inversión, ¿no? Con lo cual, bueno, María, cuéntanos.
Perfecto, muchas gracias, Jesús. Pues encantada. Primero, muchas gracias por la invitación para estar aquí hoy. Como decías, la Fundación Shift2B nace hace 10 años con la misión de promover la economía de impacto, entendida la economía de impacto como la triple rentabilidad: rentabilidad económica, rentabilidad social y medioambiental. Aquellas empresas que puedan conseguir esta triple rentabilidad, que creemos que es posible. Nace en un momento en que, como decía José Luis, nacieron con 3 co-founders, y cuando ellos iban a explicar nuestra misión a futuros partners, al gobierno, además, siempre les decían: ¿qué os habéis fumado?, ¿no? Y eso ha cambiado. Ahora el impacto pasa a ser mainstream, y que el impacto pase a ser mainstream tiene sus cosas buenas y sus cosas negativas. Buenas porque hay muchísimas oportunidades, negativas porque tenemos que ser muy rigurosos en lo que es impacto, y por eso estamos trabajando con Spain Up, con la ONCE, con mucha gente, para definir bien qué es y qué no es impacto y cómo se gestiona desde el impacto. Desde la Fundación Shift2B creemos que somos como aquel cortahielo. Somos una non-profit y, por lo tanto, nosotros lo que queremos es cortar el hielo, generar el movimiento del ecosistema como ecosystems builders que somos, y crear el cultivo para que las cosas pasen, no solo en España, sino en Europa también. Hace años ya creamos nuestros primeros proyectos de aceleración. Ahí hemos hecho mucho tipo de programas, desde educación. Somos número 1 en Tech for Climate y en Health and Care aquí en España como aceleradoras de impacto. Son programas de aceleración para startups tecnológicas que son de 6 meses, y en el que lo que hacemos es ayudar a las startups que son pre-seeds, TRLs 7, 8, 9, a acelerarse, a conseguir pilotos en corporaciones que están y que apuestan por el impacto, la sostenibilidad, el cambio social, o también les ayudamos a conseguir inversión con gente como la Bolsa Social, dentro de nuestro fondo también. El Shift2B lanzó un fondo pequeño hace 7 años de 4 millones, y hace 5 hicimos el spin-off a una gestora, la gestora de Shift2B Ventures, que el primer fondo son 55 millones y que ya levantamos hace 4 años, y ahora estamos deploying el capital en startups tanto de health como de climate. Así que seguimos haciendo este trabajo, seguimos acelerando startups para que crezcan. Hace 6 años también lanzamos la parte de Venture Philanthropy. Venture Philanthropy la lanzamos porque nos dimos cuenta que había una serie de emprendedores sociales. Tenemos diferentes programas, como por ejemplo el Vivalio, en que la Fundación 11 es partner con nosotros dentro del Vivalio. Y bueno, de hecho también es partner en la parte de startups, en ambos programas. Y la parte de Venture Philanthropy la lanzamos porque vimos la necesidad. Es decir, mucha gente en España estaba dedicando esfuerzos a acelerar startups, porque era lo que era cool, la parte interesante, lo que se estaba haciendo internacionalmente, pero el tercer sector necesitaba este tipo de programas también, programas de aceleración que les ayudara a crecer y les ayudara a conseguir financiación. Y nosotros lo vivimos en nuestra propia piel, porque somos tercer sector, y encontramos los partners que querían lanzar programas como el TINA, como el Vivalio, como diferentes programas que tenemos para ayudar al tercer sector a profesionalizarse y a escalar. y a conseguir la financiación que necesitan. Existen estos fondos europeos que estábamos hablando, pero nosotros mismos, junto con nuestros partners, también damos financiación al tercer sector a través de los préstamos blandos que damos a través del Banco Sabadell o de la Fundación Entre Canales, diferentes partners que están dispuestos a subvencionar el crecimiento del tercer sector para que el tercer sector también haga el impacto que tiene que hacer con otro tipo de escalabilidad, con otro tipo de rentabilidad, pero es muy importante para que el ecosistema siga creciendo. Entonces, la tercera pata que creo que es muy importante, que en la Fundación invertimos muchísimo, es la parte de corporates. Corporates es clave para que todo el ecosistema siga funcionando. Las startups o los emprendedores nos darán aquella parte de innovación, aquel movimiento rápido, el crecimiento, pero las corporates tienen que ser las que realmente nos ayuden a escalar. Y creo que es uno de los problemas, como dices, yo acabo de llegar a España, me he mudado, he pasado 16 años en el extranjero y llego hace menos de 10 meses. Y una de las cosas que veo es que nuestro ecosistema de innovación tiene un tope. Llega un momento que se nos van al extranjero o empiezan a venir fondos de fuera e invierten cuando ya llegamos a fases más tardías. Y eso es lo que ahora creo que en el futuro tenemos que empezar a mejorar. Que los fondos de impacto, que ya hemos creado muchísimos, puedan llegar a fases más tardías, que las corporates creen estos fondos de impacto también. Como ya decías, has anunciado, vamos a crear la SL la semana que viene. Esto es lo que necesitamos, que haya una conexión entre las corporates y el ecosistema de impacto aquí en España para que este ecosistema pueda llegar al siguiente nivel y realmente crear la atracción que necesitamos en el futuro. Y el futuro de la Fundación lo veo pues donde tenga que estar, es decir, somos rompehielos. Somos non-profit y iremos pivotando a aquello que el ecosistema necesite. Legislación es una cosa que es crucial. Vienen el artículo 8 y el artículo 9 para los temas de fondos de inversión y cada uno de los fondos se tendrá que especializar en qué tipo de impacto ellos generan. La Fundación estará allí para ayudar a las startups también a hacer estas mediciones de impacto, estas teorías de cambio, estas maneras de gobernar desde el impacto. La Fundación estará allí cuando se necesiten Blue Economy. Ahora es una cosa que está muy en boca de todos. La Fundación está allí y ya estamos lanzando nuestra primera aceleradora de Blue Economy a nivel internacional. Y creo que eso es donde vamos a estar y donde tenemos que estar. Y una de las visiones que yo tengo para el futuro es, en España tengo la sensación que trabajamos mucho en islas y nos intentamos asociar, pero no trabajamos realmente siempre coordinados, y creo que el futuro va por ahí. El futuro va con colaboraciones long term, el futuro va con internalización y el futuro va de que el impacto sea un cambio de todo el ecosistema, no de pequeños actores trabajando en independiente.
Genial, muchísimas gracias, María. Y ahora vamos con una asociación de empresas, una red de entidades que apoyan a startups. Y la verdad es que me llamó la atención cuando Concha me contó el modelo, porque al final los que se asocian a la red pagan dinero y ponen tiempo. Y eso no suele ocurrir. O sea, que es mucha generosidad la que ponen las entidades y las personas que pertenecen a vuestra red. Llevamos con una colaboración con NetMentora desde hace muchísimo tiempo y ha tenido frutos muy interesantes. Concha, tu turno.
Muchas gracias. Bueno, cuando hablaba José Luis, yo me acuerdo que NetMentora se constituyó, ahora os cuento lo que es, se constituyó en marzo del 2016, pero yo en el despacho de José Luis estaba en septiembre de 2016, claro, pensando que nuestra colaboración, tú decías la colaboración, nosotros siempre hemos tenido una vocación de colaboración con las principales entidades y en caso con conocer. O sea, lo nuestro es casi desde el principio. No me había dado tiempo casi a llegar al despacho cuando ya estábamos ahí. Yo os cuento lo que es NetMentora, luego os contaremos un poco por qué el impacto es nuestro ADN y, por último, cuáles son nuestros retos de una manera muy rapidita. NetMentora es una asociación empresarial que, declarada de utilidad pública por el Ministerio del Interior, es la asociación territorial de una gran red internacional que creó en el año 1986 André Mullier, que ya preocupado por el impacto de lo que había sido la crisis en su empresa, tuvo que despedir a 600 personas. Eso le creó una depresión. Cuando él salió de la depresión 3 años más tarde, es un grupo empresarial de Alcampo, Verdecora, todo el grupo empresarial muy potente del norte de Francia, pues decidió que tenía que hacer algo. Junto a unos amigos Dijo, vamos a poner dinero, vamos a poner nuestra experiencia, porque para crear empleadores vamos a crear para crear empleo vamos a crear empleadores. Y así se hizo. Y entonces esto llegó en el 2016 a Madrid. Con Edmentora tengo el honor y el orgullo de dirigirlo desde entonces y somos, pues mirad, en el mundo hay una red de 16.000 empresarios y directivos que pagan una cuota, destinan su tiempo, es absolutamente de manera gratuita. Somos declaradas, la red es declarada de utilidad pública por el gobierno francés, Edmentora en Madrid también es declarada de utilidad pública, se supone que no todo es gratuito y que lo único que nuestra cuenta de resultados es el impacto que generan esos proyectos porque están creando empleo. De hecho, cuando José Luis hablaba de Marcy Bionics, de la empresa de robótica, es suya y nos llega a nosotros. Estamos encantados de que esa colaboración supone que hay proyectos que desde un punto de vista diferente pues ayudamos a tener éxito. Marcy Bionics, está Tucubi y está también, no me acuerdo quién es la tercera, es Marcy Bionics, Tucubi, bueno, otra empresa que no me acuerdo ahora mismo quién es, pero que en cualquier caso nos da... Ah, sí, está Robotics. Está Robotics, que llegó a vosotros por nosotros. Es decir, es una colaboración que se tiene porque hay unas personas que tienen mucha sensación de que ellos, con su actividad, tienen que tener un impacto en la sociedad y apoyan a emprendedores. A mí cuando a alguien le cuento, oye, es que hay que pagar, ¿cómo? ¿Quieres que pague, que destine mi tiempo y que encima les ayude todo lo que pueda? Digo, efectivamente, con lo cual imaginaros los fuera de serie que tenemos. Entre otros, Jesús colabora con nosotros y hay un grupo de coaches que son coaching online que también trabajan con nosotros precisamente para cuidar a esas personas que tenemos en la asociación. Cuando antes decíais aquí que cuidamos a las personas, efectivamente, las personas son nuestro foco y por eso nos preocupa el impacto que las actuaciones que realizamos cada uno de nosotros en nuestra actividad empresarial puede tener sobre las personas. Yo siempre digo que no hay nada más social que crear empleo. Vosotros a lo mejor discutís con nosotros, pero es así. Es decir, el crear un empleo es algo muy importante. Si además eso nos preocupamos que tenga otras derivadas, como son la parte medioambiental, social, la discapacidad, todo va con ello, ¿no? Por tanto, para nosotros, nuestros pilares en la red son las personas, la creación de empleo y el último es no es el último que se ha incorporado, llamándolo como tal, es el impacto que generan nuestras actividades. No solamente nos preocupamos de apoyar la creación de empleo, sino que además queremos que todos los que estamos vinculados en esta red internacional, estemos preocupados por el impacto que genera nuestra actividad en el día a día. Y no solo nosotros, sino también los emprendedores a los que apoyamos. Nuestra red ha apoyado en este momento casi 160.000 empleos, casi 1.000 en Madrid. Y entonces lo que queremos es que además ese carácter social, ese carácter de centrar a las personas, lo tengamos en todos los ámbitos de nuestra vida y por eso el impacto, pues como os decía, va en nuestro ADN. Y nuestro gran reto pues es fundamentalmente dar a conocer esta iniciativa maravillosa que nos va a permitir que nuestras actuaciones tengan mayor impacto. Entonces, por eso, pues yo le agradezco muchísimo a Jesús que nos haya dado la posibilidad de estar aquí, de conocer a otras entidades que hacemos. Estoy de verdad agradecida a la ONCE porque siempre, en donde quiera que yo he estado, he colaborado con el grupo, con lo cual me encanta trabajar con vosotros. Sois una organización que yo no sabía que erais el cuarto empleador, esto no lo tenía yo muy claro, José Luis, pero en cualquier caso nos encanta estar con vosotros y trabajar y os animo que si hay emprendedores en la sala, seguro que todos tendréis impacto, porque todos tenéis impacto de una u otra manera, pues que os acerquéis a Edmentora y pidáis ayuda. Ya sabéis que lo único que buscamos es que tengáis éxito, creéis empleo y que, por supuesto, seáis equipos sólidos y con un impacto social. Muchas gracias.
Genial, muchísimas gracias, Concha. Nos quedan unos 5 minutos, con lo cual os voy a lanzar la última pregunta y voy a empezar por José Moncada, vamos a terminar por José Luis para demostrarle el cariño que le tengo. Si estuviéramos en el 2030, ¿qué es lo que os hubiera gustado que hubiera ocurrido? ¿Qué es lo que os gustaría ver dentro de 7 años?
Bueno, pues a mí me gustaría ver que prácticamente toda la inversión es de impacto, o sea, que los inversores se definan de impacto o no, den mucha importancia a la dimensión del impacto de las empresas y las inversiones que hacen, que lo tengan en cuenta. Me gustaría ver un ecosistema de empresas y de entidades de impacto social muy potente, ya lo estamos viendo, está creciendo mucho gracias al apoyo de aceleradoras, de mentores, de la Fundación 11, de entidades que apuestan por crear ecosistema, que eso es plantar semillas que tardan en germinar, pero cuando germinan, bueno, florecen con fuerza, ¿no? Y me gustaría ver esos árboles frondosos del emprendimiento de impacto y que sea tremendamente atractivo. Me gustaría ver muchos más proyectos que tengan el ADN de impacto que sea estructural, que utilicen la tecnología para generar cambios estructurales, ¿no? Frente a los problemas y los retos sociales, ¿no? Me gustaría que en 2030 pues, el cambio climático fuese una cosa que estuviésemos más o menos encauzada, porque ahora mismo no lo tengo muy claro. Y para eso necesitamos todos los brazos, también la inversión privada y las empresas privadas. Esto no lo deleguemos en políticos y en la administración, lo tenemos que asumir nosotros también, ¿no? Y tener un ecosistema fuerte también de inversión de impacto, ¿no? Donde todos, inversores institucionales y particulares, tengan la posibilidad y mucha oferta de inversión de impacto.
Genial. Oye, en un minuto, Concha.
Bueno, pues a mí lo que me gustaría es que los 160.000 empleos que se han creado en nuestra red fueran 320.000 y que nosotros tuviéramos una parte muy importante, por supuesto, con un impacto social enorme como lo están teniendo ahora.
Genial. María.
Pues a mí me gustaría ver a España como un referente en el impacto, en la economía de impacto a nivel europeo, y bueno, si pudiera ser mundial, pues también, pero sobre todo a nivel europeo. Creo que tenemos el potencial, creo que estamos bien posicionados, tanto en la parte tecnológica como en la parte del tercer sector. Están creciendo muchos fondos de muy buen nivel, tenemos unos mentores y un talento muy bueno. Y creo que tanto la parte pública como la parte corporate está dando esta ayuda y nos podemos posicionar. Así que me gustaría ver a España posicionada como un líder de la economía de impacto a nivel europeo en el 2030.
Genial, José Luis.
Pues yo creo que en el 2030 nuestra aspiración debe ser impacto social de discapacidad ya transversalmente y admitido en todos los proyectos de impacto, es decir, que el indicador de discapacidad esté presente, hablaban de José Luis, desde el diseño del producto y el servicio, que se tenga en cuenta que somos consumidores, que somos millones de consumidores con nuestras familias alrededor y, por lo tanto, excluirnos como negocio estarían haciéndose un flaco favor y yo creo que debería estar ahí, como en el planteamiento de cualquier tipo de proyecto de impacto, pues la discapacidad estuviera presente en lo referente a la accesibilidad, en lo referente al empleo. Hablábamos de empleo, 80 empleos se han generado en las startups que hemos apoyado, Jesús, y algunos de ellos para personas con discapacidad, con lo cual es posible. Nosotros este año hemos dado 117 proyectos de emprendimiento de personas con discapacidad más allá de nuestra línea de impacto y yo creo que el objetivo nuestro como Fundación 11, reitero, es que la D de discapacidad esté también en las tomas de decisiones de los promotores, pero también de las entidades que apoyamos a esta. Ser líderes en Europa, perfecto, pero además ser líderes con impactos claros de todos incluidos en el futuro de Europa.
Genial, muchísimas gracias. A mí me gustaría ver en el 2030 transformados a todos los Worses en Believers, ¿no? Si eso lo conseguimos, habrá sido un gran viaje. Muchísimas gracias a todos por estar aquí, muchísimas gracias a los panelistas. Continuamos trabajando porque el impacto social sea una realidad en nuestro país. Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Disculpe por la 11. Aquí no. And the okay. There's 5, yeah? Okay. Okay, everybody, thank you for that. There we go, I'll just stand here. So, yeah, so we've just spoken on acceleration and social impact funds. We're now going to jump into fintech and fintech investing in particular, embracing a digital future in finance. And I'm going to welcome to the stage for our panel Miguel Sanchez Monjo, who is partner at Cuatro Casas. Welcome to the stage, Miguel. And then we have Rodrigo Garcia de la Cruz, founder and CEO at Finnovating. Welcome to the stage. And Philip Kolobok, am I pronouncing it? I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Who is the associate at Zone to Boost. Welcome to the stage. Quite a mouthful. And then we have Faisal Oudmain, co-founder and CEO at Fintectra. Welcome to the stage. And Luis Maldonado, who is moderating this panel, professor and fintech expert at IE University. Thank you very much, and over to you.
Okay, so thank you very much. And for me, it's really a great pleasure to have such a diverse and rich panel to discuss a topic like fintech. We have a representation here from very good and long-standing entrepreneurs like Rodrigo, connecting fintechs currently with a very innovative platform. We have a fintech on the B2B space. We have an accelerator with a long-standing as well on accelerating not only companies in the end, but creating corporate VC experience. And we have the legal side as well. So I think we have a great opportunity to hear from very different points of view. And let me first start with Rodrigo. And coming from a great experience, Finnovating is connecting very many, I would say, thousands of fintechs. So maybe you can introduce an overview of where are you seeing trends coming? Where are you seeing that things are happening, the hottest things, the things that you are seeing as coming in the financial sector space?
So first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a real pleasure to be here. And things are happening very quick. Things are happening in the financial and the fintech industry very quick. I can say that during the last years, after the pandemic was an accelerator of the digital transformation of the financial sector in most of the sides. And we saw a very impact in terms of the investment, in terms of the growth of a lot of fintechs and impacting in the digital transformation. Last year has changed a little bit in terms of, obviously, the amount of money going to the fintechs, and we are seeing that some of them are, even pivoting from B2C to B2B. And on the other side, we are seeing that today, worldwide, 2 out of 3 of the fintechs are B2B. One of the most interesting things that are happening right now is how the fintechs are working in embedded finance, how they are creating different businesses in order to impact in the different ways or in different structure of the value chains of the finance sector. And this is going to happen, and in the next years, we are going to see an amazing collaboration between not only the big banks or the big corporations using the startups or the scale-ups. We are going to see amazing amount of any kind of corporation collaborating between them. Why? Because this is not just about the APIs. This is about creating spaces to create and collaborate. And this is what we are seeing. And also, we can talk later on about what is happening with artificial intelligence, for example. That is another amazing trend.
Okay, thanks so much, Rodrigo. Faisal, maybe we can take the standpoint of a startup. How to approach a successful model? We were discussing, what's more important? It's more important the product, or it's more important the distribution? So how do you start a company that aims to be successful, where do you focus?
Yeah, this is, thank you for the panel, and this is a very complex but a very important question that I'm still somehow trying to figure out. So the quick answer is I think they should be considered as two sides of the same coin. I think as a fintech founder especially, you need to be completely obsessed by both the product and distribution, because you need both to success. I mean, this is the main first message. In my personal perspective, I started more inclined into the product. I love the product, and I had impact on the product quite quickly, so I just went through there in my early days, months of fintecture. And over time, I just tried to switch into distribution, and now I split my time between both. I see more people fail in distribution than fail in build the product. I think if you have smart people, product is somehow more predictable than distribution. So if I'm an investor, I would rather focus on distribution than the product. But as a founder, you need to do both. I think if you have a great product and weak distribution, you are dead. If you have a great distribution and weak product, maybe you have a second chance to build a product.
Okay, so bottom line, probably we need both, right?
Exactly.
The focus that you need to put on the different stages probably tilt from one to the other. So very interesting. Let's take the investor's perspective, Philippe. So from your standpoint, where do you see value? What is the things that you like to see when you're approaching a fintech? What makes you really be attracted by a particular fintech? What does it make it for a fintech to be an attractive project where you would put the money?
Thanks, Luis. So many of you might not know, but Zone2Boost is a joint venture between CaixaBank, Global Payments, and Ingenico. So kind of their focus with this was to help startups grow through their commercial network. And kind of what we were looking for is those fintechs, right? That those kind of solutions that are completely new. And kind of what we were looking is, first of all, products that make sense within the strategies of the corporates. So kind of from the very beginning, you're kind of looking at, will this be something interesting for us in the future? How will we help it grow? So kind of a win-win approach. And when we're evaluating this startup, sometimes you come up with, startups come to you that you were not expecting it to be part of your strategy, right? Kind of that's the thing, no? You can read a lot of trend reports, you can predict a lot of things that could happen in the future and elaborate your innovation roadmaps, but sometimes completely new things appear and you have to reevaluate everything. So kind of when fintechs come to us, we want that feeling of, we weren't expecting that, but this is extremely interesting for us. And we kind of try to fit it in within the strategies that were already elaborated. And if this is something that our clients will want, so that's kind of the product market fit, right? That's one of the main things, and the market scalability potential for it. Those are the main things that we kind of look for, if it's something our clients will want, basically.
Great. Okay, and whenever it comes to the financial sector, regulation is a key element. So we're lucky, and every fintech should have a lawyer close, right? So luckily we have a lawyer in the room. So from your perspective, what are the main challenges a fintech faces when approaching regulation? In many cases, you're finding entrepreneurs for which their core main domain is definitely not regulation, but they still need to face that seriously. So what are the kind of recommendations you would give fintech entrepreneurs and fintech companies in general? What are the kind of challenges that you see coming from the legal and regulatory side?
Well, many thanks, Luis. Well, it seems that the regulation is always a problem or an obstacle to financial innovation, but this is not always the case. We have to consider that the regulation is neutral with respect to the use of technology. The regulation is always the same, regardless of whether or not technology is used on an intensive basis. So this provides a wide flexibility. Actually, we can see more and more new regulations that are consistent with a digital world. For example, we have a new regulation on the use of blockchain technology for the securities market. We have new rules on client identification on distance through electronic means for anti-money laundering purposes. We have also, or we can see a more collaborative approach of authorities For example, in Spain, it's possible for startups to submit questions to the Spanish regulator just to confirm whether their business model is regulated. We have also the SANBOX, that is in which it's possible to test innovative products in a closed environment controlled by the authorities, and we have this since 3 years ago. And it is true that there are some areas in which the lack of regulation has entailed problems and continue to entail problems. This is the case, for example, of crypto assets. Luckily, we have a new regulation in Europe, MiCA regulation, but this is not the case in all countries. For example, all these investigations that we see now on the news, in the US, investigations to large crypto platforms, they are related to the lack of regulation in the US, for example. We had the same problem in Europe with respect to open banking. Until the full implementation of the European Directive on payment services, open banking fintech companies were not able to provide open banking services to their clients due to restrictions and the refusal of banks to open and to share their information with third parties.
Okay.
Maybe, Luis, if I have one moment about this, because I think it's very important for the perspective of fintech founder to focus on financial regulation. There are very small number of events or things that can kill your startup as a fintech, and there is very small number of this life or death events, and failing to comply with regulation could be one of them, is certainly one of them. And especially if you focus on enterprise customers, it could kill you overnight. So I think as a founder, you cannot skip the financial regulation. You need to know it exactly, and you need to comply with it. I think better to do it earlier than later, because it's easier somehow to build a culture that is compliant and regulation friendly day one than try to change it afterwards. It's a little bit complex because you need to iterate to look for your market fit, product market fit, and still complying with the regulator. But I definitely encourage founders to take this very seriously.
We could even take probably the stance that regulation is not only a constraint but an enabler. In some cases, a lot of business models, especially those that we call RegTech, are born on the fact that a lot of the regulation is complex and has a lot of areas that can be significantly improved thanks to the use of many technologies. So we have the two angles, but I really think the 2 points are very crucial ones. So, I mean, comply with regulation and do it early. Do it from your business model on day one. Exactly. And I think that's a very good and useful tip. Rodrigo, maybe we can come back to something that you mentioned and probably gave us with an important taste of interest, which is AI. So we cannot escape talking about AI probably in any field, definitely not in fintech. So ChatGPT, is it a game changer? GPT is going to be disrupting. You're always doing things with GPT, and probably one of the few fintechs that has already launched a solution on that field. How do you see that? Where do you see the opportunities, the challenges? How do you see that?
That's an amazing question. We are in love with the AI, and this is why we are using the GPT technologies to do amazing things. Let me tell you how we are using it. So we create like 3 levels or 3 layers of disruption. The first one was, why don't create a LinkedIn for tech companies or corporations, a B2B, to connecting, you know? We can connect everyone to anyone using this LinkedIn, but we need something for B2B. And we have this amazing event, but it only lasts 3 days. What is going to happen the rest of the year? So we said, we are going to connect all this community of tech companies and corporations. The next level was, we use Tinder for dating. So when we start to use artificial intelligence to connect these companies, if we are able to know who you are, we are not going to be able to connect you with the right startup, with the right investor, or with the right company that is looking to you. Because at the end, the artificial intelligence is our best way to use the data. And the third layer is why we are not going to use GPT. So what is GPT? GPT is the way of using all this data in another way. And this is what we have done. We started using GPT to create the first B2B match GPT, the first B2B
GPT for business. And the situation was amazing because at the beginning, when you start to use these technologies and connect with these technologies, it's like, you know, it's like you are talking with someone who is wanting to learn. So you give him information and he answers. So you have to train like a baby. And he's starting to understand what you want. You take information, you put more information, you eliminate information in order to have this solution. And after 4 months, we were able to have a GPT, a conversational, a real conversational, that this is not about tell me what is the best fintech in Kenya using AI for payments. It's tell me what is the best fintech that I have to visit when I go to Mexico, or tell me what is the best company that fits to me using, I don't know, whatever technology and whatever activity in one country or whatever place. So this is more qualitative. This is not, we are not going to look for any more houses, two rooms, 300,000 euros. They say, I want a house for me with light in the center around of, clubs, bars, or a park. This is, the difference between the data of the past and the data in the future. And this is what is going to happen. This is an example, MathGPT, but we are going to see in the future an amazing wide range of GPT services transforming the world at the end for a better world. This is about doing the things more efficiently.
And that is part of an agenda that is changing so fast. And it is even under the scrutiny of regulation, right? So, Miguel, what can you tell us about that? I mean, do you feel regulation is going to come as well to the area of AI? Are we going to set boundaries? There's a lot of discussion on the European Commission really defining the rules, the ethics around AI. So what should someone developing bear in mind that it's going to be the framework coming?
Yes, I think that there are several challenges and opportunities for fintech in the coming years. One of them is the use of artificial intelligence that can be useful in order to purposes like fraud prevention, identification of clients, credit scoring. But it's true that entails some problems and some challenge. Actually, there is a new regulation on the way in the European Union in order to prohibit certain uses of artificial intelligence and to restrict the use for other purposes. In relation to that, there are other challenges. For example, the provision of financial services through the metaverse. This is something that can imply some challenges with respect to the location of the services, the location of the service provider, and the applicable law to those services. Actually, the metaverse is one of the priorities for the regulation in the European Union, so we will see some regulation in the future. We have also challenged in all the matters related to cybersecurity. There is a new regulation that is DORA regulation in the European Union that wants to require financial entities in general to prevent, detect, and to solve any kind of cybersecurity or IT incidents or risk in their entities, in their business. And there are other challenges, like, for example, the consolidation of open banking. There is an initiative or a proposal of the European Union in order to analyze whether the open banking services should be extended not only to payment services as of today, but also to other services, investment services, loans, and other financial instruments and other financial information. And lastly, I would say that also ESG can be a challenge and opportunity for fintech. We are in an increasing environment, regulated environment on ESG with further requirements every day. And I think that the fintech companies may have a challenge, but also now an opportunity with respect to ESG, considering their business model that can be more sustainable in comparison with traditional banks.
Okay, so it looks like fintechs are navigating complex waters, right? From the regulatory side to the technology side. Miguel, how can we help them? Sorry, Philip, how can we help them? I mean, you, from your side, from Son to Boost, you're trying to make their life a little bit easier. Yeah. What you can provide that makes a little bit simpler for them facing some of those challenges, or the many others that a fintech might have?
Yeah. Basically, I mean, in terms of investment in general, I think all VCs, they want to bring a lot of value to their portfolio. That's one of the main objectives of Zone to Boost, Plug and Play, and all the ecosystem involved within my day-to-day. I think that one of the main values is, in earlier stages, it's more of an advisory role. I mean, in Zone to Boost, we've got 3 of the main, of the largest financial corporates in the world, and obviously we've got a lot of talent there that we can share with them. Sometimes portfolio companies come to us with certain doubts of creating a new product, a new business model within their existing one, and they're not sure if this is possible, if this is something the market will want. They have a lot of doubts, and that's kind of the first thing we can do. We can connect with the right people within the corporates, and just to bring that knowledge closer to a startup. And sometimes even in the corporate, there's a lot of people with a lot of bright ideas that can't execute them because they don't have the speed and maybe even the necessary funds dedicated to that specific task. So they're really eager to collaborate with them. And obviously on more later stages, when the startup is ready, or even the corporate is ready, because it depends a lot on the corporate strategies, we try to connect through pilots and POCs with those startups. That's kind of our main goal, obviously, through that through Zone to Boost, is to create those pilots and help the startups actually connect with the market. Because obviously, when you have a great product, when you have a great team, you need to go to the market, to the customers. You can do that with your own sales team, and when you've got stellar salespeople, it's always something really fun. But to leverage huge channels that are already established, it makes it easier, especially when you want to open a new country. For example, we've invested in French companies, in the UK, a few from the US. If they wanted to come to Spain, CaixaBank and the players we've got here local, we can help them a lot on that. And also when they want to go, Spanish companies want to go to US or France, for example, we've got Ingenico and Global Payments that really have good networks there. And that's kind of the main goal. Basically help them go to the market and grow. And it's a win-win because startups grow, obviously, that's kind of their main goal. And the corporates offer extremely new and innovative products to their client base.
Great to see the point of view of an investor. Let's take the point of view again of a startup. From the things that have been mentioned, how do you see the disruption coming? I would say from 2 very main technologies disrupting now, AI, blockchain. Do you agree those are some of the 2 that are being most disruptive today? What's your take on those?
Yes, I think first AI and blockchain, generative AI and blockchain probably are the most 2 main significant technologies of the last decade. I don't know what is the scale yet. Is it a scale of internet or of mobile or whatever? I mean, we are in this kind of scale of disruption and technologies. Probably we had some random use cases for them in the early days, both for blockchain and for AI. And now we are starting to hit mass adoption, especially for generative AI. And what amazes me most at this moment is the speed with which incumbents are implementing these technologies. If you see what Adobe or Microsoft or even big startups like Notion or these guys are already implementing all this innovation into their products. So it makes it harder for startups to have this speed, because the discussion is, will the incumbent build the product before the startup builds distribution? It's always this challenge, and now we see incumbent building the products almost much faster than the startups. On the implementation side, I think at Fintecture we've put together very early on, I think in the first weeks of the launch of GPT-4, a group internally with our compliance teams and different departments to see how can we use the most of this technology while keeping compliant. And my opinion is, if as a business, whatever the business is, tech, fintech, or whatever, if you don't transfer a large fraction of your operations into these technologies by end of this year, you will be at disadvantage as of next year. So it's really, again, a matter of, it's very important to jump into this innovation very quickly because it's already massively adopted.
And keep seeing what's the next big thing coming, right? And coming to that, Rodrigo, seeing the next big thing, what's coming next? How do you see, what trends do you see in open innovation coming to be disruptive in the next few years?
So I would say that on one side is the opportunities that are going to happen. Let me tell you that today there are 32,000 fintechs in the world. We have in Spain operating 1,600. So it's amazing the number of fintechs and startups that are appearing. The problem is that what is a fintech? A fintech is not a fintech anymore. A fintech has a name, but has a lot of surnames. And we can see now fintechs with doing maybe 20, 30 kind of activities through maybe the fintech, the proptech, or whatever activity. The second and the most amazing thing is, the collaboration that is happening between the corporations and the startups. During the last 10 years, I've been related with a lot of projects of collaboration, and I see the most, successful ones were, the big ones, the big players, that they have, clear structure and clear strategy to work. But it's going to change because there are, the rest of the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 companies in the world. They need to collaborate with these startups if they want to become competitive. Otherwise, they are going to not disappear, because this is not about yes or not, but you are not going to be as important as before. You're not going to have the same impact. And probably some of them are going to disappear, or at the end they are going to be merged with other companies. But you need this. And the third is about technology. Every single 2, 3, 4 years appears something that is changing everything. I think the regulators should be, exhausted. Because we came from, blockchain, crypto, DeFi, metaverse, AI, GPT. They are exhausted, overwhelmed. Not only the lawyers, but imagine the regulators. They don't know how, and what is going to be the next. But for the tech part, it's amazing. It's amazing what is happening. What is, the easy, how the easy is to get these technologies to create new activities to work with. And I think, blockchain is in a very good maturity state to carry on working and carry on doing things. And on the other side, I see, for example, the AI impacting in different ways of the companies, not only in sales, marketing, tech areas, compliance areas, in everything. And in fact, it's going also to impact in open innovation. So I see the future of the open innovation much more intelligent. I see an AI open innovation future, in terms that it's going to be easier to find the right company and to find the right people, or the right entrepreneurs, the right technologies, the right business models that are going to be able to be connected. Because otherwise, when you try to connect with a company and at the end, the proof of concept or whatever is not working, this is going to have an impact in the company, in the corporation, that is say, oh, no more. Imagine you are really small, you don't have enough resources. It's quite important to identify the right company to dance. This is your peer. I want the perfect one to connect. So this is why, obviously, the AI is also helping and is going to accelerate these connections, and this is what we see in the future.
Okay, we're running out of time, but I don't want to miss the opportunity. There's a lot of investors in the room to go back to investors' opinion, and you have less than 1 minute to respond, both Miguel and Philippe. What is the role of a corporate VC? How can a corporate VC have a role here, and what should investors look at from the legal perspective? You have less than 1 minute each to just give a final perspective on the investor side on these 2 points.
Well, I think that the VCs should consider, or should analyze, and should understand to which extent the regulation has been considered in the startup, in the fintech startup, from the beginning of this activity. I think it's important to consider the regulation from the very beginning, to involve lawyers. We know that we are boring, we can be expensive, but it's important to involve lawyers from the very beginning, because we can be helpful in order to identify define the minimum viable product, in order that it can be feasible from the legal perspective and can be realistic, because we come across in Cuatro Casas fintech projects that are great ideas from the IT perspective, from the business perspective, but it's very difficult, very complex to fit them into regulation. And it's better to identify these problems from the beginning than later.
Philip?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But also, I'm really excited about this new technology for how it will help founders create these new startups. So something I'm going to be looking at in the future is, are they using these new technologies to make it quicker? Because sometimes you have two founders, one business profile, one tech profile, but their knowledge is limited in terms of creating the product. They're going to need to hire a lot of people, and sometimes for the MVP, it's not enough. With these new technologies, they will have a lot of help on creating these new products. So I expect to see really good quality products at a really initial stage, something that right now you can find sometimes. Obviously, there's great founders out there, but it's more reserved more for seed stages maybe when have the funding. So that's kind of what I'm really looking forward to see really great products at a really early stage.
Okay, thank you so much. I think you gave very broad perspective coming from very different points of view. So thank you very much for your participation. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luis, for moderating. Great session, really interesting. So much to talk about on fintech. So I'll let you switch over. Okay. So we've now spoken about fintech and investing, embracing a digital future. And we're coming back to a very important topic on the balancing act and getting real about female leadership. And I'm going to welcome to the stage, I'll just let people move out a bit. So first up we have Lupina Iturrega, who is founder at Fintonic. Welcome to the stage, thank you for... Lupina, yeah, okay, here we go. Then we have Anne Duran Moreno, who's founder and CEO at InnoBooster. Welcome. And our moderator today is Clémence Beauchamp, who is founder at Lead Her. So welcome to the stage and give them a big round of applause.
Hi, thank you very much for being here. So today the theme is a balancing act, getting real about female leadership. And I think there is no better way to understand female leadership than sharing experience from two wonderful leaders who have been founder of their companies and who have went through the path of leadership with success. And we have a lot to learn from them. So first of all, I would like to give a bit of context to this conversation. I would like to give the opportunity to Lupina and Anna to introduce who they are and what they have done, what has been their journey. So maybe Lupina, if you can start.
Well, thank you for having me here. It's a complete pleasure being here again in South Summit. I am Lupina Iturrega, founder of Fintonic. It's a fintech app. What we do different things. First, from one point, we want to make a positive impact in financial education to our users. We have over 1 million users that we help them to get the best loan for them and to make them understand how to manage their finance in a better way. No, it's difficult in the personal finance to understand how to manage your daily business or what we do in that side. And then we have a B2B line that we help banks and financial institutions with all the open banking service that we have already used in our B2C side. So thank you for having me here today.
Anna?
Yes, and it's also a great pleasure for me to be here as well. Thank you very much for the introduction. Clémence, it's a great pleasure to be with all you here. And I'm super proud to be here again in South Summit. I see some faces that I don't know, some other faces that sounds familiar to me. So just to sum up, I'm Anna Duran, the CEO and founder of InnoBooster. InnoBooster is a private innovation agency. We raise public funds for tech companies, Spanish tech companies, any fund, like national, international fund, to make their technological projects grow up. Okay, this is like our first line of business, and the other line of business is strategic consultancy, go-to-market mainly, strategic consultancy to make those products, those solutions, those innovative solutions of the companies grow up and expand in the market. Because the methodology that we have to follow with an innovative product is not the same one as with a traditional one, right? So this is like our own methodology that we have developed inside after a lot of mistakes and things that we have learned. And well, this is InnoBooster. I've also founded Mambo Consulting 1 year ago, another small company, tech company that is well, brand new and growing up. And that's it.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you very much, Lupina and Anna. So maybe to dive into the conversation of female leadership, I think there are 3 themes that are always important. Number 1 is overcoming these systemic barriers. Number 2, I think mentorship and sponsorship, that is always a big boost for men and for women. And finally, that's a more maybe female topic, is work-life balance. So we will try to cover those 3 very interesting topics. Maybe we start with you, Anna. How do you think organization can address and break down those barriers to foster gender equality?
Well, I think it's something that we all have to think about. Positive discrimination is a lie. In my opinion, it's a lie. Why? Because positive and discrimination, both words don't match. Come on, if you're positive, you're not discriminating anyone, right? In my opinion. Each one can give his opinion, of course. But it's true that if you discriminate any group of the society, any gender, whatever person, because this person is different, you're making this person being different, like really feeling bad, feeling dumped or silly, whatever. Women are not like dumped or limited to anything. We just need to have the same opportunities as men, not discriminating, just giving the same opportunities. And there are lots of professions where there's lots of women, and there's lots of professions where there is a majority of men. And it's natural. It's not that we have to go to the 50% exactly to be absolutely, no. 50% is not the reality. The reality is that each one of us think about our own goals, our life goals. And each one of us like maybe more a technical profession or health profession or whatever. And we don't need to be exactly 50% men and 50% women. And that's why I think positive discrimination doesn't make sense.
On that note, what about mentorship and sponsorship, which is an important topic, I think, for success? Lupina, did mentorship play a role in your own professional growth?
Of course, I see here a lot of women and men also. Mentorship is really important because it means guidance, it means help, in this path that, as you know, a startup is a roller coaster at the end of the day, and there's everything new, and you need to have someone telling you their own mistakes in the past, no? So that's really helpful. But for me, it's not enough. For me, it's much more important sponsorship. Why? Because when you have someone that is in sponsorship, that sponsors you at the end of the day, they are really gonna boost your career because they're gonna introduce you people, you're gonna make networking, they're gonna really present you new opportunities. So you have to, girls, go just to get a great sponsor because it's gonna make a huge, huge difference. You need someone to tell you how good you are, even if you don't know it, because many of you or many women don't realize how good they are, no? And it's the reality. You can tackle whatever you feel, no? She's pregnant. I had 2 kids while I had Fintonic. And Fintonic, my 4th kid at the end. So really, you can handle everything, but you need help. So for me, it's really, really important to find 1 or 2 or 3 great sponsors that help you during all your careers, that introduce you people, that help you with the networking, that not only guidance, because mentorship is quite easy. No? Many people ask me all this year how to help them, and I give you some ideas and I try to help them, but at the end, if you don't have someone that pushes you and brings you up, it's impossible. It's not impossible, but it's much, much harder. And in my world, fintech, finance, and tech, they're all men. It's the truth. In the board, only one woman. In my work, well, and I try to bring more diversity, more women, but it's very complicated because we don't have CVs of women, no? When we ask for them. So, wow, you need help. You need help in this world, because if not, when you are in a board and they're looking at you and they say he's a matchman and he does not see himself in you. So maybe at the end he discriminates a little bit, you know, and you have to make you value yourself because of the facts, no, at the end of the day. But I think it's still a bit more complicated for women. I really believe it. So, and I have to say that I have great opportunities and I don't feel bad during all my career, but I feel we need to support each other at the end of the day.
And so, what do you think, Anna, is the attribute you should be looking for into a mentor or a sponsor?
Yes, well, I think a mentor or a sponsor should be a person that has more experience than you, of course, and knows well how to do things. But that's not the only thing. The most important thing for me is that this mentor is much better than me in the field I'm asking the advice. This is the point, for me at least. So it's not that I have one mentor. I have many mentors actually in my life to whom I can ask lots of advice. For example, my husband, he's so good at human resources. He really knows perfectly what's in the minds of everyone. And he understands perfectly the needs of every person. I'm not that good, but I try. I still try. And when I see I'm taking a wrong decision, maybe I'm asking him, what do you think about that? Give me a second opinion. Maybe there is something that I'm missing. And he always gives me good ideas. For example, my mom, very good at health and food. So why not? When I don't know, like, if I'm doing something right, Mom, what do you think about that? My father, it's an industrial engineer. He's so good at processes, at quality. So when I have some thoughts about, well, should I improve this process or should I do it in another way? I go to Dad and say, what's the best way to do that? And he always has an answer. So you have to find really your mentor for each one of your fields where you don't feel secure. If you feel super secure, it's because you're very good at it. But still, you can ask for advice. For example, my cousin, before creating InnoBooster, I was working in other companies. And my cousin was my boss in one of those companies. And he's super good at having the right perspective, the right learning all the variables, knowing all the variables that influences a decision. So when I have to take any decision that has some uncertain outcome that really, for example, I haven't faced yet, or I have never gone through it, well, I call my cousin Enrique and say, okay, I have this issue. I'm not sure what is going to happen if I do that. What do you think about that? And he always brings me new variables to take when you're taking the decision to know about that and to think about that before taking this decision. So just go through the people that really gives you good confidence, that you really admire. So and if you really admire them, it's because they do it well. So go to those people. Each one is very good at some fields, some concrete fields, so go to the one that you really admire in this field. This is my idea.
Yeah. And I think you always need mentor depending on the phase of your life. Sometimes you need someone with a network who can introduce you to the right people. Sometimes you need advice and you need someone who listens. So hence the importance to have a wide range of people. Lupina, now let's change a bit of topic, and I think this is more female leader topic, is work-life balance. Can you tell me how can individuals maintain a healthy work-life balance while pursuing a leadership role?
Yep. Well, it is important, and bear in mind here, all of you, that I feel all women must be also in these roles of management or CEOs. Why? Because at the end of the day, we cannot only leave men make the decision. We are all women and men all together, so we need to do this for our daughters, because all the decisions made in the world cannot be done by men. No? So one thing, that's very important. Bear in mind that you're going to work like crazy if you are in a startup. That's the truth. And how you handle this, you need to have a husband, in my case, that does much more than me at home. That's the reality. Because if not, I cannot do anything. I need to outsource what I cannot do or what I am not good at. If we go back what you were saying, if I am not good at something, let's outsource it. But you can really handle everything, but you need to be really organized. It's really important that you understand that you have a lot of weight. And once, someone told me, do you remember the old farmers when they have these donkeys that they have a lot of weight and load, and when they came back after working a lot, after the whole day working since 5 in the morning until sunset, what happened there? First they feed the donkey, first they give water to the donkey. Why? Because you need to care for yourself first. You are the donkey here. If you are not good, you cannot tackle your day-to-day, So it's very important that you are really good yourself, that you sleep well, that you do gym or whatever. No, I have to do it at 6 o'clock in the morning. 5:30 I wake up. Why? Because if I don't have my own time, it's impossible. It's really, really impossible. But say it so, you can outsource and not only get, please, mentors surround you. That is great. You can admire your cousin or whatever, but try to go other places. No? For example, in Fintonic, I just hired someone from Google that was in Washington, in San Francisco, working, and I really talk about what great was in Madrid, the weather. I want to invite her just to give me some advice about. She was the best UX person in the whole world. But I really make her come. I really make her fall in love with Madrid. I invite her to everything, but we have the most amazing month in Fintonic learning about how she did that. No, that was the trust technology methodology. Methodology is great, no, like to find nudges to make people do whatever you want to do. No, you want them to do. So you have to think big. Maybe here in Spain you are not going to find the people, or wherever you live in United Kingdom, France. You need to go. Where is the best? How can I get info from the best? Because maybe it's not surround you. That's what I feel.
Thank you. Anna, what are the strategy or practices that have helped you achieving work-life balance?
Very, very simple, to be honest with yourself and with everyone, to be clear, to be transparent, like really tell everybody and yourself what you need for yourself to be happy. So when you're doing some work, like, okay, I'm doing this is very good, I love that, so I'm happy with it. Now I need to be happy a lot of family time, so I'm going to reserve this family time to be fully oriented, fully focused in my family. So if you need that to happen, like for example, imagine it's when, for example, you work for a company that expects a lot from you. I really advise you to go to a company that really expects a lot from you, by the way, because this is the right way to feel really, really good. Okay, there's probably 2 days, 2 weeks, or whatever, of really high amount of work. It's true, that happens. It's not that you shouldn't say, no, 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 this is my time, this is 5 p.m., I go home. No, no, no. Go for it and do it perfectly and surprise everyone because it's great. And after that, you say, okay, now I'm going to reserve next week to be with my family much more because I need to compensate, right? Just be balanced. You have to work hard, perfect. Also play hard. Do both. This is probably the idea.
Thank you, thank you. Lupina, how do you think organizations can create a culture that supports work-life balance and flexible working arrangements?
Well, right now there is a lot of controversy among remote work or just go to the office. We have office in Mexico also. As we have a lot of tech people, we have a lot of remote because if not, you cannot hire them. That's the truth. I really feel that when we are all together at the office, this magic comes and better things are going to happen. But I understand you need to have a balance among your life and your work. So first of all, to do that, you need a lot of communication with everyone. You need to be open to hear all your team. You don't have to do whatever your team says, but you have to hear them all the time. Understand what's going on with them, their really personal lives, because they're humans, no? They're also colleagues, but they're humans. And you really need to have, from the very beginning, a professional career developed for each of the person that are in your office. So if they feel you're gonna be like a trampoline for them because you have a great place to work and you're helping them, then everything is gonna be much better at the end of the day, I feel.
Thank you, Lupina. Maybe I would like to take the last few minutes of this panel to thank you so much for your inputs. And I would like to give my perspective on why it is so important that female leader like you give your time and your insights to help the next generation. So the founder of Leaders, and Leaders is an organization that fosters sorority across generation, across industry. So we create mentoring program. And I would like just to give 2 anecdotes on this experience to show how you bring value by sharing all this. So we organized dinners with 15, 20 influential women, and the first dinner we organized, we had this partner in an American law firm, a top American law firm, and she introduced herself and she told us about her experience of being promoted a partner. And she said that when you want to be promoted a partner, you need the support of other partners, and the only one who didn't support her was the one female partner that was there. And so that's something that needs to be eradicated nowadays. And I will go one step forward. We need to create this sorority with women like you that help the next generation. And hence I'm going to give the second anecdote. After our dinners at Leaders, we matched those female leaders with talented students. And we matched Sarah was a student at Sciences Po in journalism, with Saskia was journalist at CNN. And Saskia pushed, supported, and helped Sarah to apply at the Master in Digital Journalism at NYU. She helped her with her essay, with a recommendation later, and not only Sarah was accepted, but she got the Merit Scholarship. But the story doesn't stop there. Merit Scholarship covers 75% of the tuition, so you had 25% left, and 25% of American universities, it's still a big chunk of money. And Sarah called me and said, I'm coming from the best school in France. Why do I need to go there? And number 2, my parents don't have the money. I don't know what to do. So should I do it? So we pushed her and we put her in touch with other people who told her she had to go through that. And we sent an email to our network, and Corinne Vigreux, who is the founder of TomTom, financed the missing part, and someone else found an accommodation for Sarah. And I think, number 1, today Sarah works at the Financial Times in New York, so I think we might have changed. She was very talented to start with, but this experience, life is being talented, but also going through experience, and I think we might have changed her life, but also the most important is that we planted a little seed in Sarah's head that she has been helped, to contrast with the first story that I told you. And this is why it's so important that women like you who have been through this journey, you have seen the obstacle, you are here and you share your experience. So I wanted to thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
It's a great pleasure.
Wonderful. Thank you. And yeah, very uplifting on female leadership and what's important. Okay, so next up we have a keynote, and we're going to be talking about building a global company from Dubai. Do we have our speaker here? So we have Jad Antoun, who is CEO at Husby, and you're going to be talking about building a company from Dubai, which I'm very interested to learn about. So welcome to the stage.
Cool. Can I start? Or? Okay, cool. Thanks everyone for being here. So the title is a bit different than other stages, so hopefully I will not disappoint much. Building a company out of Dubai. My name is Jad. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Husby. Husby is a super app for the real estate market where we connect agents and consumers to a wide variety of services under the umbrella of best price and best quality. We're 2.5 years old in total. We are a team of 250 people. We raised roughly around $70 million from top investors in the world, such as Sequoia Capital, Founders Fund, Fifth Wall, and others. And we have 2 offices, one in Madrid and one in the UAE. In terms of volume and etc., we're roughly doing around $3 billion in turnover annualized, making us market leaders in the UAE and one of the fastest growing companies in Spain. And we launched 2.5 years ago, so we're still a very young company. So, okay. So why Dubai? Why we chose Dubai to be HQ for us at Husby? So for those who don't know what Dubai is, other than the pictures and the normal media, Dubai is one of the main cities in the UAE. 10 million people in population, mainly a country that's very well dominated by natural resources, mainly including oil. Very high purchasing power in general, but most importantly, has an exceptional leadership, in my opinion, that has been planning for a long variety of years to diversify away from oil. And I'll share with you guys a few pictures and quotes. So, Sheikh Mohammed, which is the leader of Dubai, which in my opinion is one of the best visionaries, has been preparing for this for the past 20, 30 years. And when I say this, is how to diversify away from mineral resources. And one of the quotes that I'm sharing here is that someone asked him in 50 years when we might have the last barrel of oil, the question is, when it's shipped abroad, will we be sad? And the answer was, if we're investing today in the right sectors, I can tell you we'll celebrate that moment. And I want to emphasize a bit on celebration, which I think is incredible. So today, the UAE is one of the biggest investors and the largest funds in the world, Western real estate, and so forth. This is Dubai in 20 years ago versus Dubai today. So bear in mind that Dubai is a 50-year-old country. In the past 20 years, you have cities that has been involved, and the expansion that we've seen is exceptional, to say the least. Why I think Dubai will attract a lot of talent, started attracting a lot of talent and will attract a lot of talent. There's an incredible value prop, which is no income tax. So if you make 1,000 euros, let's say you make 1,000 euros to your pocket, so you don't pay anything on that. 2, you have an exceptional quality of life, incredible safety. I don't lock my door, it's been years. And every single building has a gym, a pool, incredible restaurants, bars, etc. So your quality of life is amazing. Location, you are between the east and the west with an incredible airlines, which is Emirates Airlines. So you can travel extremely easily. And then you have an incredible consumer purchasing power, so you can build large businesses even with a small population of 10 million people. So why did Husby choose real estate in general? This is one of my favorite slides that summarizes the real estate market. So today, real estate is probably the vertical that's still the most undisrupted by software or product, less than 1% penetration and transaction. If you compare this to retail, which is e-commerce in general, or mobility like ride-hailing, Uber, Bolt, and etc., there's still a massive opportunity to go and disrupt. And I think the next 10 years, we're going to see a massive influx of capital coming in. So how do people buy houses today? You go on a portal, which is probably in Spain, Idealista, and the region in the Middle East, it's Property Finder, Zoopla in the UK, and so forth, which is optimized on search. A lot of problems in those platforms with fake listings, duplicates, and so forth. And then transactions completely gone offline. You probably need to speak with multiple agents, very difficult to coordinate the visits, and then the closing, either the real estate, the transaction itself, or the mortgage, takes a long time to get there. So if you look over the past 4 or 5 years, there's roughly around 30 billion that came into venture capital money in terms of prop tech capital, but still there's not much disruption that's been happening in this space. So you see a lot of iBuyers, tech-enabled agencies, transactional marketplaces, and etc. But many of them have really failed to get to scale. And why is that? Is for a couple of reasons. Their solution is not providing enough value to the consumer. So you can say that, hey, you empower technology and so forth, but for the eyes of the consumer, the experience is still the same, the feel of the product is still the same as a portal. So that's one. And two, the solution does not enable massive scale. Majority of companies still are capex heavy, buy houses, refurbishers, and etc. So very difficult to go and build a very large business. So how is Husby different than the majority of the companies? I'm going to give you guys an example, which is Uber, or ride-hailing in general, since probably a lot of people in the room use that. So if you think just in general about ride-hailing, which in my opinion has one of the best product market fits ever created, and why is that? Is because it's great for everyone involved in the transaction. So for the consumer, you open an app, you order a car, it's seamless end-to-end. Even if in some cities it's cheaper than taking a cab. For the driver, it's even great because they make more money, and there's also zero barriers to entry, so you don't have to pay a one-time fee like for a taxi license for you to get there. And even for the regulator, they get transparency for the whole market, meaning it's great for everyone involved in the transaction. But if you think about it and take a step back, what's the bet of Uber that they made? They made a bet that taxi companies and medallion owners do not add enough value in the chain. And even though that they do not add enough value, they take a lot of the value of the transaction. So they made a bet against them, and then they pass the economics to the person who really matters, which is the driver, in that perspective. In our space, the story is more or less the same thing. Agencies today take 50 to 80% of the commission from the agents, so they extract the vast majority of the commission. And in return, the promise that they say is that they give you a brand. The majority of people cannot name 5 real estate agencies' brand. And what matters in this space is the right property at the right price. 2, they give them an office space. And 3, they invest a bit of money on marketing, either on the portal, and etc. And all of this is in return for 50 to 80%. So the bet that we're making is these people are taking a lot of the value from the supply chain, and we're passing the economics to the agent who really matters in this space. So what do exactly we offer for the agent? So we have value prop. We have 4 value props for the agent. 1, with Husby, they can make 3 times more money than the offline process. if they refer other agents, they can make passive income with Husby. And bear in mind that in this sector, you make money once in a transaction, so you can start generating recurring income. You get access to a super app that unblocks all your day-to-day, meaning the best CRM for agents, photography on demand, legal on demand, matchmaking on demand, etc. And for the consumer and the thesis that we have, because the value prop is so strong, we have the ability to attract the best agents. The best agent own the best supply. So we control the real estate segment, and then we have the opportunity to go and deliver more value to the customer, either starting from the real estate to the mortgage, to the furniture, to the design, and etc. And bear in mind that in the whole sector, putting IKEA on the side, there's not a single brand that is known, and the probability for the consumer to get cheated is very high. And when we say cheated, it could be either on pricing or quality. So that's a bit around Husby. So we launched Spain a few months ago, and why we decided to go with Spain. These are some of the metrics on the Spanish market. So Spain is roughly 650,000 transactions per month. There's 150,000 agents for them to do 650,000 transactions, meaning on average every agent closes one transaction every 2 to 3 months, meaning super fragmented market. And the market size roughly around $200-300 billion, still massively undisrupted, and you can go and build a large business. In our business, the more fragmented the market, the better, because you can come and deliver value at the top of people. So our story a bit in the past 2.5 years, we got super lucky with an exceptional team. So I'm the first guy. We have an incredible CEO, Brett, who leads the operations and revenue in Husby. Brett spent 8 years in a company called Baker, which is the largest real estate company in the world. They sell 16,000 houses per day, which is ridiculous, in my opinion. But $85 billion company at peak, etc. We have a CTO who was leading technology in Talabat, which is the biggest food delivery company for Delivery Hero. We have Mitul, who's the CFO, was CFO of Uber and APAC and MENA. We have Oscar, who was leading product in Habi, which is a unicorn prop tech, and leading product in Rappi. And then we have Natalia, who leads people in 2 of the biggest unicorns in Brazil, either being SumUp and Wildlife. So a bit of our execution in the past 2.5 years. We grew 30x in 2.5 years. So we were on a massive growing trajectory. We're probably one of the fast growing tech company in the region, and probably in Europe also. We did 4 acquisitions in 2 countries. So we did 3 in the UAE, and we just acquired a company in Spain a couple of months ago. So in general, we love acquisitions, especially if we see an asset that if you put money on them, then they can blow up. So very strategically positioned and etc. So in general, we love the M&A. And we raised roughly around $70 million from some of the top funds in the world, such as Sequoia, who led the last 2 rounds, and Husby, Founders Fund, Venture Friends, Fifth Wall, Briar Capital, and others. So that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful, very informative, if you want to set up a business in Dubai. So we're almost at the end of our morning of South Summit. How's that? So our next talk is going to be about humanity and creativity as a foundation for success. And joining us today for this talk is Augustin Soriano, and who is Chief Strategy Officer at McCann World Group. So welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm going to mess a bit with the brand here. But yeah, I think it works.
So thank you very much for having me here. It's amazing to be in this event. So much energy, so exciting. So my name is Agustin, as the presenter said. Thank you very much for having me. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer of McCann World Group. So what is McCann? McCann is a group of agencies that we do creativity. We have creativity in the center. We have McCann, a creative advertising agency. We have MRM, a digital creative agency, Craft, a digital production creative agency, and Future Brand, that is a great design agency. So all of us are here today, here in South Summit, and just as a glimpse of how good we are, we were named just a week ago the best network in Europe, 2022. So we are very proud of it. So the question is, what is doing a marketing, advertising, creative agency here in South Summit when it is known that in the startup world, sometimes it's neglected, this our world, the marketing and so on. So these kind of sentences are heard a lot in this kind of summits. So if you are an innovator, if you've got a great product, if you've got a disruptive technology, then you don't really need marketing, right? And in fact, one of the best or most renowned entrepreneurs of all time, Jeff Bezos, once said in 2009, advertising is the price you pay for having a remarkable product or service. So that was some time ago. And if we make a fast forward to the present, we have this. So it's great, Jeff. I mean, you are now one of the biggest or the biggest advertising in history, spending a lot of money. So yeah, sometimes you need marketing, sometimes you need creativity and advertising. And why is that? Because something happens with the startups and with the scale-ups. So you have an amazing product, you have an amazing innovation, something that is disrupting a category, and you are very focused in the product and the technology, but eventually sales are starting to stop, are starting to stall, right? So you are entering a phase that is called growth plateau. And that happens because, you know that 2/3 of all the startups end up failing, but the ones that are succeeding are because they know they have to go from always on sales activation activity to brand building. That means talking about something that is beyond the product, beyond the technology. Why? Because you need a relationship with the consumer. You need to be close emotionally to the consumer to go to the next phase, to multiply your sales. Because if you stay in the sales activation very close to the product, then you start going down. So this is the truth for us. Innovation and creativity are not separated, are part of the same thing. They are tied up in a feedback loop. So don't call it marketing. We don't like marketing. I don't really like the word marketing. I don't really like the word advertising. We are a creative agency at McCann. We actually do creativity that is not really particularly tied to advertising or marketing. It's creativity for innovate, to make you guys grow, right? So I think they need each other, right? You need creativity because you need ideas to implement, right? And we need innovation as well. We need you guys because we only have the ideas. We need you guys to implement those. So I think the startups and the companies that are really succeeding out there are the ones that are mixing these two elements in a feedback loop. So what I'm going to share with you is 3 ways on how creativity can fuel and can help innovation to flourish. So the first one is to make your passion contagious. So I'm sure that some of you have created startups, have created projects, and you have had an amazing technology, something that is a breakground innovation. But I'm sure that the reason why you created that was not only because of the money, was to solve a problem that the world needed to be solved, or that the people needed to solve, right? So that passion, that purpose that you had before, in the beginning of the project, if you put it, in the front, if you use it to communicate, you can connect with people emotionally, and you can get out of that growth plateau that we were talking about before. So this is an example that we have done for IKEA that is called Disables. The purpose of IKEA in the beginning of the creation of the company was to make a better everyday at home for the many. That's the purpose of IKEA. And for the many means to many people as possible. But there are some people at home that don't have the same I mean, they are disabled and don't have the same opportunities to have a better life at home because, you know, the everyday things that they do at home are a challenge for them, like opening a door or sit down in a sofa. So we created this project, putting the purpose of IKEA in the front, innovating with a new product at the same time to connect with people emotionally. So let's take a look.
Although I have cerebral palsy, I do everything I can to conduct myself like everyone else. But in my own home, I'm surrounded with furniture crying out, cripple. I'd like to sit on a regular sofa without being afraid I won't be able to get up.
IKEA's vision is to create a better everyday life for the many. Disabled give simple and affordable home furnishings for 10% of the population.
Every child, every person is different depending on their needs.
Disability drives innovation. Even in some of our public libraries, there's 3D printers.
A lot of the solutions, they've been very medicalized down through the years, and nothing as cool as anything you've produced.
ועכשיו אנחנו רוצים להראות לכם יוזמה מיוחדת של רשת איקאה שנקראת Disabled.
יוזמה חשובה שתקל על אנשים עם מוגבלויות איקאה, עם ארגון נגישות.
Yeah, so this is a really good example of how purpose can help you build brands and connect with people, and as a consequence, bring sales up. So the second way creativity can help innovators to move forward is by helping you to take the less traveled road. So you know that nowadays is the most competitive moment in the market. It's really difficult to differentiate. And the ones that are succeeding are the ones that are making things in a different way than the others, right? If you think about all of those startups, all of those scale-ups that are succeeding out there, it's because they are doing things in a different way. So I think creativity can help you to transitate like really unknown paths that can differentiate the brand. And this is an example for MasterCard. MasterCard is, as you know, a payment service, but it's not different than the other payment services. And actually, it's an old payment service, right? So how can you differentiate, and how can you find the path for MasterCard to communicate with people, to connect emotionally with people, and to build differentiation? So this is what we made, that is a mix of purpose and innovation and creativity, and this is the project.
Good girl. I was born legally blind.
For millions of visually impaired people, paying with a card can be a challenge.
Credit cards used to have raised numbers, and now they're unfortunately losing that tactileness.
Which one is my credit card? Now I have to get somebody else to go through my cards to pick out this one.
I've been in situations where all of the store clerks are just standing in a circle waiting for me to figure out where my card is.
It can be exhausting.
But what if cards could be identified by touch?
Huh. Oh, wow.
This is wonderful.
Introducing Touch Card by MasterCard. 3 distinctly shaped notches help people tell the difference.
Okay, we have an indent here.
It's like notches. All 3 of them have notches.
You'll be able to tell my cards apart.
developed in partnership with IDEMIA, Visions, and the Royal National Institute of Blind People.
This touch card is going to change my whole approach to the way I shop.
Just little things like that can go a long way as far as bringing independence to a blind person.
Inclusive by design, and a step forward for the entire industry. Because a world designed for all of us is priceless.
Just a little notch is huge progress.
Touch card by MasterCard, coming soon.
Yeah, so now we're doing a lot of projects like this, inclusive projects for MasterCard that is, open an avenue of communication for the brand and, emotionally connection with people. And then the third thing is about technology. Technology, as you know, and you have been talking a lot, I'm sure, about AI, about all other things. Technology is scary and it's cold for people. For us, it's amazing because we can do great things with it. But for people, it's not really relevant. It's like, a bit scary. And technology, by the sake of technology, nobody cares about. So creativity, infusing creativity and mix it with technology, and mix it with a, deep human problem and deep human insight is where the magic happens, right? So creativity can help you to bring technology closer to people, so to create something that people care about. So we made this project with Bimbo, mixing AI with a deep human insight that was in the streets of the city. You're going to see it now. So we use AI to give every one of the food trucks that were in the city a personalized and customized ad for the food truck. So this is the case.
Across Mexico, thousands of street food vendors are putting out some of the world's most creative hot dogs and hamburgers. But despite a rich history of sign painting, too few vendors have access to point-of-sale materials with the stopping power to turn foot traffic into food sales, meaning too many people walk on by in search of more appetizing options. So how does the country's largest supplier of buns deliver point-of-purchase materials as creative, diverse, and unique as the food itself? Presenting the greatest guide of hot dogs and hamburgers, the world's first fully generative and individualized brand platform designed to help put 8,846 of Mexico's best hot dog and hamburger stands on the map. We started with a massive data unification process, including location, stand name, and recipe. And because in early 2023, generative AI is miraculous, but hard to predict, and even harder to control at scale, we created a world's first workflow designed to turn data into prompts, prompts into food paintings that are masked, combined with generative backgrounds, dynamically typeset from one of our 6 hand-painted fonts, automatically retouched, branded, then ingested into our system as separate layers to be combined, up-resed, and output to final print specs. To create 8,846 completely unique and totally iconic branded and brand-safe stand signs. Then we put it all together on the Great Guide, the world's most comprehensive map to the world's best hot dogs and hamburgers, hours of operation, and what's on the menu, delivered to each vendor via WhatsApp.
Llega el momento en que en línea se hace hasta allá, por supuesto, ¿no?
Grupo Bimbo unlocked the power of brand-safe, generative creativity at scale, and in the process, put its best customers on the map.
So, just to show you how close we are in how we understand creativity, and innovation, I think this is the best definition for me of what a creative, not an advertising idea, but everything, right? So from technology to apps to disruptive innovations, it is something that walks on the edge of what is possible. It has to give the feeling to people in the world that it was just impossible that happened before they saw the idea, right? So that's how we understand creativity at McCann, and we apply it to everything, not only to communication, but to every innovation and every idea. And last but not least, remember that everyone is optimizing things. So in a world where everyone is optimizing, then you're going to end up with something that nobody cares about, right? The only way to differentiate the greatest competitive advantage to get out of the box is creativity. So if I have managed to convince you in this short period of time of how important creativity is in combination with innovation. I think we have a stand, I don't know what it is, it's in the corner, in Arena, yeah, exactly. So come and talk with us, we would love to have a conversation with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Augustine. That was fantastic. Really enjoyed that. And I hope you all enjoyed today, this morning at South Summit and also at SANBOX. We look forward to seeing you again next year. But tonight, there is a concert happening at Plaza Real. Please join us. Yeah, Plaza España, exactly. Sorry, Plaza España. Please join us there. We'll look forward to seeing you there, and hopefully you can make it 7 p.m. tonight. And thank you, everybody, for attending South Summit this year. And we look forward to seeing you next year in Madrid. Thank you.